All right. Hello, YouTube. I just realized I had not pulled up the new recording yet, though. So, see, you're manifesting it into reality. Peter was worried on the last episode that I didn't hit the recording, and then it causes me to then forget the recording almost here. But I got it before we started, so haven't even hit the intro yet, so we're good. So there has been a few where I've actually forgot, and we're like 5 or 6 minutes in, and I hit the record, and I ended up having to record the whole thing off of YouTube anyway, which is never ideal, but it's always nice now. We've never actually done it to where we forgot to, because in the old days before YouTube, that's all we did. That was what we were doing, is just hitting record. Yeah. So
we did have one episode before Geekery Bites, just of the other show, Dark Tower Palaver, where we recorded. I got home, and the next day you're like, "Hey, you want to come back and do that again?"
Yeah. While I was editing, the thing crashed on me, and it completely deleted the entire file.
And that's not when we were doing live, so you couldn't go and get the YouTube recording and put it out as an audio. Yeah. So you're just like, hey, want to come back and do it again?
So now I save before I do any middle.
Yeah, before he stands up, he's like, all right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Show goes off the air. Tad's save it. Oh, it's saved.
Save, damn it. All right, let's go ahead and hit the intro and get started with Geekery Abides, episode 59. Look at that, getting really close to another milestone here. All right, let's go.
He who is ashamed of his geekery has forgotten the face of Stan Lee.
This is the podcast, Geekery Abides.
All right, hello and welcome to Geekery Abides, episode 59, where the main topic is Thunderbolts. My name is Tad, and with me in the co-pilot seat is Peter. We're already into May. Insane to me.
I know, right?
And
not a little bit in either.
No, 10 days in, for God's sake. That's insane. It's ludicrous.
Madness.
Yes, it is indeed madness. We don't have the full announcements typed out for this show, so I feel like there's things that we don't really say on this show that we probably should. On the YouTube side here, if you are listening on YouTube, if you're listening on the podcast, you can join us for live streams, be part of the conversation stuff over here at YouTube. You will have to search us. We don't have enough followers, sadly, to get a URL, but search out Geekery Abides. You'll find us, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and you'll get us towards the goal. I can't remember if it's 100 or something subscribers you need before you can get a custom URL. But yeah, if you could subscribe and if you want to join, you could watch every episode of Geekery Abides has been live streamed, so you can find our entire archive there as well as normal podcasting interfaces as well. Let's also I want to mention the episode changes. So we got 2 shifts. We're still fairly new in this podcast. We've been through 2 summers now. But throughout the history of almost 10 years of Dark Tower Palaver, it's a general rule that at least once during the summer there's going to be an episode that we have to move around. We have a company theme park day, there's vacations, there's all kinds
family
of
reunions,
there's all kinds of stuff.
That's where it always
it makes total sense, and so I always joke that it's at least once a summer, but this time it's actually twice in a single month, starting off with summer in June here. We got both June episodes will be shifting a week later, so basically it means after this next episode there will be a 3-week break before the episode after that, before episode 61, I guess it would be. And then we'll do 61 and 62, and then there will only be a week between 63 and 64, I think is the way the numbering works. So just know that both, which is strange because usually it's one episode that gets delayed. I don't know if we were ever delayed 2 episodes simultaneously, so it's kind of weird where the whole month is just shifted. But it works out.
It goes from the 7th to the 14th and from the 21st to the 28th. So the new episode dates are the 14th of June and the 28th of June. That's just what you got to remember.
Yeah, indeed. So, let me see here. And then, so that is that out of the way for announcements.
Mike said he didn't think he would make it, but he did, so it worked out. That's awesome. Welcome, Mike.
Awesome. Yeah, welcome, Mike. And then let's get over to the emails next up here. If you want to email the show, you can email either of us directly, either Peter at geekeryabides.com or Tad at geekeryabides.com. Tad is TADD. That is how you email the show to be part of the conversation.
I do want to pause right there because remember, Tad is going to be watching the first Harry Potter for the next show. So anyone who has Harry Potter stuff that you want to throw in there,
send it Peter's way.
Send it my way, Peter at geekeryabides.com, because we definitely we're going to have conversations about Harry Potter here this year because we're watching at least 2 of the movies. At least.
Yeah.
Maybe more. We'll see.
Yeah, indeed. So we do have an email for this episode, too, for the main topic.
Excellent.
So can't wait for that. So that is the emails. Got that. So let's move on over to watching, reading, playing.
All right.
Let's see. You know, I always make you go first on my episode, so I'm going to go first this
All
time.
right. You're going to throw a curveball.
Throw everything off. Yeah, I love curveballs. They're fun.
I mean, it fits with the Thunderbolts. Like,
yes.
Nothing is normal.
Yes, indeed. So watching for me, I've still watching Malcolm in the Middle. That's like my favorite little like half hour, or not my favorite. It's what I'm doing because I love to have like little half hour things where it's like you just quick something, like you don't really want to commit to a full like hour of something, but just throw a 30-minute episode on.
Also, it's not something that you have to like super pay attention to if
Yeah.
you have something else going on. For example, eating a snack or a meal or something like
Yes,
that.
exactly. So I'm like into the 3rd or 4th season now. So I don't know how much of the show I watched in its original run. I know that like got into like high school and stuff, and I fell off with the show. There's still some stuff I'm seeing that's familiar, but like I think it's getting to the spot where I haven't seen every episode, and I'm sure at some point I'll just start to see episodes I had never seen before. So like I know, for instance, I know toward the tail end of the show they get another kid. Like they have another baby. So like, and
I never knew that.
Yeah, and I think that like the finale is an announcement that she's pregnant again. So it's been fun to watch. And I'm also watching The Last of Us season 2 that's airing currently.
Yeah.
I'm 2 episodes into Andor, so I'm very, very behind, but trying to catch up. Maybe tomorrow I'll do some Andor watching.
Some rebellion.
Yeah.
Some
I mean, of course I'm
rebellious
cheering
nature.
for the Empire, you know. Got my little Empire flag and blow it up. Blow it up.
The Death Star? Blow it up?
No, Alderaan.
That's
Alderaan.
rebellion talk, Tad. If you want to blow up the Death Star.
No, Alderaan. All those rebels there. So Chandrilla next too. We gotta take care of that too. I also just started Poker Face season 2.
Okay.
Ryan Johnson's show with the amazing Natasha Lyonne in the lead role.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a fun show. The first episode was really fun. It was Cynthia Erivo, and she was playing sextuplets. So there was 5 versions of her. So that's a lot of fun.
Interesting.
So there's 2 more episodes. I think they dropped 3 episodes to start. I still need to watch 2 more episodes. Still been watching baseball because it's that time of year. And then in theaters, I went and saw Until Dawn with Hayden and Caden.
Oh, how was that?
It was good. I enjoyed it. Yeah,
Nice.
I enjoyed it a lot. It was real gooey.
A lot of goo.
Yeah, indeed. There was some exploding people. So and very spooky. I enjoyed it.
That's awesome.
And then, of course, Thunderbolts. That is my last on my list for watching. And then reading, started dabbling back into Blood of the Prophets, which I'm not finished with yet. And then I did do I did Blood of the Prophets, and I had to stop it to read Billy Summers for our Patreon hangout for the other show. So that's all I've been reading. And then all I've been really playing is MLB The Show. I really have not fully...
Baseball.
Ever since I finished Red Dead 2, I just have not been able to find a game that's really, like... grappled me back in. I've been kind of thinking about maybe I should just dive back into the Spider-Man trilogy because I know those are always good. Because like I feel like everything I like have downloaded or will like re-downloaded like since Red Dead 2, they're just not grabbing
It's
me.
not hitting.
Yeah, it's just not. And I'm like, I know Spider-Man will always hit, so I'm seriously debating just downloading all 3 and then playing through all 3 again. So we'll see though. I don't know. Next weekend's the big one because when there's no shows, then that's when I usually have a lot more time to play games.
Yeah.
So what about you?
So watching The Last of Us season 2, I actually watched the last season of The Big Bang Theory. My wife watching it, so I'm catching episodes here and there. And then I was just like, I don't remember the last season. I didn't watch it on on air, so I went back and watched just the last season.
Mm-hmm.
Andor season 2, I'm behind 3 episodes. The episodes from last week. I think tomorrow is going to be my.
Oh, so you're way more caught up than me then.
Yeah, I watched 3.
I think there's like 8 episodes out now.
There's 6. It's 3 per week.
I don't know. I swear there's someone. I thought I read somewhere saying that episode 8 was like one of the highest rated episodes in like IMDb. So that's the only reason I'm saying that is because I swear I read a thing saying that episode 8 was like massively rated. So unless it was like a critic rating thing and they're just hyping.
Shit! There's 2 weeks since I last watched. I watched the first drop. So April 22nd, episodes 1, 2, and 3. I watched those. Episodes 4, 5, and 6, April 29th, and then 7, 8, and 9, May 6th. Oh crap! I'm 6 episodes behind.
So you've watched how many then?
3.
Okay, so you're 1 episode ahead of me then.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
only 1 episode ahead of you. That's the first batch because they're doing them in batches every week. So
Yeah.
and then I saw Thunderbolts with you and everyone in theaters.
Yeah.
Reading, I finished 11/22/63, then jumped into Billy Summers, like you mentioned, for our Patreon hangout.
Just
for
a patsy.
He
was just a patsy.
Billy?
No, Oswald.
Oswald.
It's just a patsy.
That's Tad's theory.
King's a fictitious writer, of course. So he, although in the
He does acknowledge
in the epilogue, he says his wife is smart and actually believes the truth. He said he's a fool and he believes in the Warren Commission. So
Yeah. He trusts the government.
Oh man.
It's not a very King thing to do when you think about it, like with all of that.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I mean a boomer thing, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
he's from the boomer generation, and like I think generally speaking, boomers were born in like with the distrust of the government. So, like, not born, but like they were like
They
brought
got
up.
it. They got it a lot through Vietnam.
They came
yeah.
of age with Vietnam and Watergate,
race riots and
Yeah,
Watergate
yeah.
and everything.
So like
yeah.
they're the ones that really grappled with like the first massive shift of distrust of the government. So
Yeah.
and King's kind of more on the hippier side too, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly. So it's just kind of weird.
Yeah.
A little bit weird. And then I've just been playing Repo, that multiplayer game I told you a little bit about. But you can play it by yourself. And then last weekend, I had absolutely nothing going on. It was a chill weekend. I seriously went through and played the entire campaign of Last of Us Part 1. 21. I texted you about it and said, hey, I finished Last of Us on Sunday. And you're like, dude, didn't you just start playing that? I'm like, yeah. You're like, short game, or because you've played it?
Yeah, I don't know how far away through I am. I just got back through the bloater in the gym
At the high school.
and then I think I'm a little bit in like the houses beyond that is about where I'm at right
Yeah.
now. I think so. I don't know how far that is in the progression of the game.
That's
so.
about just under half.
Okay. So
There's major chapters.
so I can't listen to Bon Jovi yet.
No.
halfway there.
No, you're not halfway there. What I'm doing is I'm actually replaying it. I actually started again Thursday night. I'm playing through it. I'm following a guide, and literally this guide is going to walk me through to 100% the game on achievements.
Oh, okay.
Trophies for PlayStation people, but it's Steam achievements.
Yeah.
So I'm playing on PC. So I'm doing that, and it has it broken up by the chapters. I think there's 6 chapters, and the third chapter is Bill's Town.
Okay.
So that's where you are, but I say less because chapter 1 is the one level in Texas.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would say you're a little bit less than half.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
so that.
All right.
That's it. That's all I've been doing.
All right. Mike in the chat says watching Andor season 2, The Last of Us season 2, and rewatching all the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Reading Persian Fire by Tom Holland.
What doesn't that guy do?
There's also a director named Tom Holland.
I know.
too. So yeah, apparently it's a very basic. I mean, Tom is a basic name, but Holland. I guess there's. Well,
I wonder if they just did that.
England's not a very popular surname. France isn't.
I mean, Robert England.
Yeah, but it's spelled wrong though.
It is.
So the U. So I don't count it.
It's funny because that's kind of like the way the English spell other words, like color. It has a U in it.
Yeah, they always add inappropriate U's in there.
Robert England added a U.
And of course, I'm joking for all the English listeners that we have, because I know we do have a number of people that are fans that have listened from the UK. So every time I talk like this kind of stuff, I'm always being facetious. I have no ill will against the tyrant George III. Was it?
No taxation without representation.
Although I will say I don't like tea. I'm with Ted Lasso on that. It's dirt water.
It's dirt water. Yeah, you can take it, just throw it right in the garbage.
Yeah, pretty much. That's my beliefs. And then he says work sucks right now, so not playing anything currently. And then he did say the trailer of Until Dawn does look good, and yeah, it was a good movie. I was marveling after the fact of like I feel like so far long gone are the days where you just assume that every video game adaptation sucks. Like at this point now, like
I mean,
adaptations are doing really well. So
yeah.
But man, remember that was a thing where it was like, man, decades worth of fucking attempts at video game movies, and they all sucked like terribly.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a few rare exceptions, but even the rare exceptions were like mediocre, like the original Mortal Kombat, which I love and adore, but objectively, it's probably a middle of the road movie.
And then we're not going to talk about the sequel.
Oh, there is no sequel. So, all right, let's move on over to the popcorn topic / news topics, which it's all news this episode, I believe.
Yeah.
So first of all, Revenge of the Sith scored the second biggest re-release of all time.
That's awesome.
Box office.
What was number one? Do you know?
It made $42 million over the weekend. That's international and domestic.
We're talking just the opening weekend, right? Because that was
They only had it for 1 week essentially.
Oh, did they?
So,
Okay.
because here's the asterisk. I do know what the number one is. I have it here.
Okay.
It is not close. What did I say? 42 million, right?
Yeah.
Number one was the 2012 Titanic re-release, which took an astounding $350 million.
Ooh, wow.
There's like first run movies that can't pull that. Now,
No.
the asterisk I'm going to throw out there is I do not know how long they let that go in theaters. I don't think that was just a week for Titanic. Because, again, and I think Revenge of the Sith they probably should have let run longer, but I do believe behind the scenes it was probably a matter of they did not want it to compete with Thunderbolts. Because also, why didn't they release it the weekend of May the 4th? That makes no sense.
Yeah.
But that is the weekend that Thunderbolts is coming out. So I have a feeling they moved it a week early, and then they only let it run for a week rather than letting it run for like the whole summer maybe or whatever. Probably wouldn't have been able to get away with that because there's not enough screens out there. But I think they could have let it run for a couple weeks, a fortnight, maybe a month or so. But I just didn't seem like they were interested in that. But I do think the 2012 Titanic re-release, I highly doubt that did that in 7 days, 350 million. So
I wonder how long it was. I'm trying to see if I can find
but of course, doesn't
anything.
Like again, James Cameron, man, he is a monster. Like it just, he's insane. 350 million to re-release the movie. What is that? What was it? 97. So was that 20 years? 97 to 2012.
Yeah.
So
looks like it was in theaters through
or
June.
no, 20. That doesn't make sense. It's not 20. It'd be
No, it's not 20.
15.
15.
Okay, yeah.
It released in April, beginning of April, was in theaters for 2 months, beginning of June.
So it was double 2 months versus a week. So yeah, but still, even 2 months doing 350 million in 2 months for a movie that's 15 years old, that ain't bad. Hayden says reading Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday, 12 Rules of Life by Jordan Peterson, watching Andor Season 2, The Last of Us, a lot of horror lately. I love to hear that.
Hey.
And then
Mike says, Hayden, I always thought you didn't like horror.
And then I love that Hayden also threw music in there because I've actually always thought that maybe we should include music in there.
Oh, yeah?
I know you and I aren't as big into music, but Hayden did put his music in there. Zella Day, Sundays in Heaven, Kendrick Lamar's GNX album on repeat. And then he's got the sunglass emoji there.
Yeah.
So I always appreciate emojis. And then Mike says, I always thought you didn't like horror. Hayden says, I do increasingly. Tad has done a job in desensitizing me and accosting me with dreadful things. A laughing emoji. I still have boundaries, though. I also love that it says I did a job, not a good job.
Yeah.
Not giving me any credit there.
I mean, do you deserve credit?
And then Mike says desensitizing. You say Stockholm Syndrome, I say. Oh, I love the
It's
spirit
true.
of it.
The funny thing is that you got like the polar opposites of Hayden and me, because both of us, neither of us really watched horror movies before we met Tad. The thing was that I threw myself into horror. Hayden was dragged kicking and screaming. It's kind of interesting. Tad has one of each in his collection. He's got the one that's like, show me more, master.
Yeah, indeed. All right, next up, we've got a fun announcement for Fantastic Four. So, not James Woods. That's a fucking totally different actor. I've been thinking about Casino a lot recently, so thinking about rewatching Casino. Matt Wood, the voice is going to be the voice of Herbie in Fantastic Four first steps.
Okay.
Matt is a longtime sound guy at Lucasfilm, and his fingerprints or voice prints are all over Star Wars the last quarter century or so. He's got a really cool story. He was originally a video game tester for Lucas Arts, and then he was able to pull a job into Lucasfilm, and he's basically done sound. He's been like not sound designer, but he's like the sound guy for like all the prequels. He's done a shitload of voices throughout the prequels. It'd be easier to almost tell you the voices he hasn't voiced in the prequels versus the ones he has. Notably, though, he's voiced General Grievous. And also he's been on camera as Bib Fortuna in the Disney Plus stuff, as well as the Phantom Menace. He also did Bib Fortuna in the Tatooine or the Boonta Eve pod race. Okay. Also, for Hayden's sake, he also voiced Elo Asti in The Force Awakens. So, and pretty much if you hear a Stormtrooper in like the sequel trilogy, it was Matt Wood that voiced, and he sometimes brings some of his friends in, but like he's always going to be one of the voices for sure. Yeah. So, great dude, legend in the Lucasfilm realm. So it's cool that he's going to be voicing Herbie. He does a good job with audio stuff, so it'll be great. Hayden, fuck that.
I don't know why he hates that guy so much.
I don't know. Oh, now the other month or so ago when he threw some shade at Ben Quadraneros, I will not stand for that. Ben Quadraneros is the man. I need to get me some Ben Quadraneros action figures, T-shirts. Like he's
got a tattoo of him.
The best pod racer, without a doubt.
He doesn't make it off the starting line.
Doesn't mean he's not the best.
He's got the droids that mess up his shit.
Yeah, it's their fault, not his. The only reason
just sits there banging on the screen and makes it go boom.
The only reason Anakin even won is because Ben was taken out of the race early. So
the slander.
Oh man! All right, next up we got.
Are you saying that Sebulba sabotaged him too?
Probably. I mean, it wouldn't
took out the two biggest competitors.
Yeah, his biggest threats. Let's see, Mike. At least this Ben lives.
That's true, he does.
And also, my fan theory, and until I'm proven otherwise, Ben Solo is named after Ben Quadraneros.
Oh my!
Han Solo is a fucking redneck. You telling me there's not a million rednecks named after fucking Dale Earnhardt that they've named their kids Dale? So yeah. Ben Solo is not about Ben Kenobi. That's about Ben Quadraneros.
Leia named him, not Han.
Oh.
For all we know, Han wasn't even there.
Oh, he was there. Yeah. He didn't run away till Ben turned to the dark side.
Oh, right.
All right.
Aiden says fake news.
So next up, we got Dave Filoni talking Ahsoka Season 2. So he's asked about the status of the project at Celebration. He says, "quote It's a long development. One of the reasons why I like to work on very large arcs, and I try to factor in all the things that I'm creating simultaneously and look at them and say, well, how do we do unique things? What are unique set pieces, and where is the story going to go? And then we play with this, and also what's at play with the story." He was then asked if this is a one-off story, and he says, "I ask myself these questions. I have a general outlines for all these things, general timelines for all the things. I keep moving the pieces on the board for the big strategy. That's why that's the way I've always worked since the start of the Clone Wars, and until I got to the end of that series finally." And asked how this season will affect his movie, he says, you keep that in your mind in the future while you're working on the present. So right now, I'll be on season 2 of Ahsoka, and as those stories develop, it might change things that would affect what's going to happen in the future, and what I might do in my film. At times, it's a balancing act, but I'm constantly working at it, working out scenes. I know several scenes and where they would go, so you just kind of plug it in as you go. So sounds like he's playing some master strategy here with all this stuff.
He's playing 3D chess while we're over here just going, give me trailer.
Yeah. Thrawn.
Yeah.
He's being very Thrawn-like.
Yes.
Definitely like that.
He's over there studying artwork of himself from when he was like 2 years old.
Yeah.
Macaroni art in 5th grade.
Oh man. Next up, make sure I don't hit the wrong pedal there. Further down the road, Rosario posted on social media.
Yes.
And she is on set. I do think Ahsoka's been filming already. I think they announced that around the time that Celebration happened, that Ahsoka was going into production as Celebration was happening or wrapping up. I think it was the day after Celebration, the Monday after Celebration, filming began. But that doesn't mean that Rosario, I almost called her Ahsoka, is on set, because you could film things without her, and they're like, she's gonna have a call time and stuff. So it seems like a little bit further down the road, a week or so down the road, she got called on set, because the picture, if you're only listening, is her taking a picture of her shadow, and it is very much the Tortuga, or no, that's Turtle. I'm blanking on her
It's
race's
not.
name.
It's not Twi'lek.
No,
it's the other one.
Yeah, I'm blanking on it. Tortuga stuck in my head. Goddamn, Breaking Bad is in my head too. So,
Togruta.
yeah, Togruta. That's right. That's
Togruta.
right. She's got the and all you can see is the shadows, but it is very titillating.
It very much looks like she's wearing MC Hammer pants too.
Yeah.
Parachute pants.
Yeah,
Can't touch
indeed.
this.
And then she says, quote, and we're off to galaxies far, far away. So that's exciting. I'm can't wait. I mean, Ahsoka season 2 might be my most anticipated Star Wars thing right now. Just because I love season 1 so much. I love the character Ahsoka.
We were talking about that we both need to watch Andor Friday when we were yesterday. Yeah, yesterday was Friday. We were hanging out yesterday and we were talking about how we both need to watch Andor. We're hoping that with this being like Rebel centric, that we hope that maybe they'll bring in Hera. Maybe we'll see Zeb.
Yeah,
it'd be really cool if we got to see some Rebel characters in Ahsoka in Andor.
Yeah.
Before Ahsoka season 2, it'd be really cool if we did.
Yeah, good stuff. Can't wait for this to come out and so we could watch it finally. Next up, we got a rumor that Flanagan's Clayface script has been thrown out.
No.
So the reports are that they're basically going to a page 1 rewrite, which basically means that everything that Flanagan gave them doesn't mean they won't take some inspiration from it, but I'm done. I don't care. Without Flanagan, I mean, he wasn't ever going to direct it, but like if it was his script, I would have been interested in what another director might do. But if they're doing a page 1 rewrite, like also there's been some people online that are starting to question like, is this a problem? Like, or like, why is this happening? People are starting to kind of wonder, is James Gunn not spinning the plates well enough? There's also something that they canceled already. I don't know what it was, Rock something or other that has already been canceled and stuff. So it's not looking like the juggernaut that people were kind of hoping. I mean, of course, nothing's fully launched yet.
We also got like the delays with the Batman 2 and everything, so it's just like it doesn't feel like there's any momentum right now for the DC.
Yeah.
DCU. DCU. Thank you. Mike says, good, move on to Dark Tower. No, he's moving on to Carrie.
Yeah, and ultimately he only wrote the script for this and turned it in and then pieced out because they were going to get somebody else to direct. Now they're just rewriting his script, so this was never going to delay it. It's Carrie and Exorcist that are on his docket
next two
right
for
now.
Flanagan.
That's probably going to take up the rest of his year, would be my guess, because it's
maybe even the next year.
3 to 4 months of shooting, and you got those two things that he's got to shoot. And I don't know if he'll do them back to back, but I assume that he'll probably do them close together. So
takes a break for Thanksgiving and Christmas,
maybe he could be like the Steven Spielberg, went from Jurassic Park and got a bunch of people like, hey, I need you to do all the post-production shit because I'm going to film Schindler's List. So he was trying to catch the winter, though. He needed to film in winter, so he was either going to do it immediately and let Lucas took over and help on some of the stuff. And he had some people he trusted.
And then he would go film in Europe.
Yeah, I think he filmed in Poland.
So
because it was either that or he delayed himself a full year.
Wait a whole year for winter again.
Yeah, it's a whole nother year.
Yeah.
Oh, whiny Luke. Hayden also said she's from planet Los Pollos Hermanos. Indeed. She does have, Peter said, the parachute pants. So,
she does.
Now, this next one, I don't know if you've heard or not, but I don't know if you'll be... If you haven't heard it, you might be disappointed. The rumor is that Matt Reeves is no longer directing Batman 2. So first, we mentioned last time that there's some things going on in his life that are being not reported what's going on, but just to chill because they basically said
it's personal stuff that's causing a little bit of the delay.
Real life stuff, and they said basically it's not Chadwick Boseman, but it's not too far from that. So that gives you some context of
that he might be ill.
Yeah, so
or someone very close to him might be one of the two.
Yeah, so this largely felt like unsubstantiated rumors, and I was going to ignore it altogether. But then as I looked into some of the rumors, the core of the rumors are actually Production Weekly, which is something that for almost a decade, even back to the Dark Tower days, Production Weekly has given us a lot of good information because basically it's a trade magazine that basically everyone that's not people that aren't on the poster or their names aren't on the poster, everyone else that works on the film set, your carpenters, your costume people, they call them below the line people, the people that really make the movie happen. Those people read Production Weekly to figure out what jobs they might be able to get, because if they're locked up for 3 or 4 months to do this, okay, so I know I've got 3 months blank here, let me go look at Production Weekly and find what productions are going to be going.
What's going where I can
find
hop
a job
on there and I can build sets for Ahsoka season 2. I can go do that, or I can go do Carrie with Flanagan or something like that.
So and we found, and in fact, even on this show, I just blanked on Spider-Man title for the next Spider-Man movie. God damn it!
I just spaced on it too.
Either way, that was announced in Production Weekly like a month before it was officially announced. Because I remember we covered it, and I'm like,
Brand New Day.
And I remember us covering it, and I'm like, Production Weekly is calling it Brand New Day. Now that might be a code word, because going back to like Blue Harvest was the name of Return of the Jedi when they were filming it, so they could keep secrecy. Could have been a code name, but it turned out to be the real title. All that to say, Production Weekly is generally a legitimate place to look. Well, the latest issue of Production Weekly lists the Batman 2, and it's still set for filming in March, but Matt Reeves is no longer listed as director, but only as the screenwriter. So that's either there's an issue and a mistake in their thing, and maybe they whatever, and he's still directing it, and this is all, we're reading a lot into something, whatever, or he has stepped away as director, and it'll still be his script, but somebody else might be directing it. So definitely kind of a bummer, but again, I definitely want to be graceful with it because it sounds like it's a real life thing, not a stupid Hollywood pissing contest or whatever the shit that can happen.
There was a time a month or two ago where they were making it seem like James Gunn and Matt Reeves were at odds.
Yes,
but one of the big things is that we covered is that James Gunn's not going to accept anything less than a complete script.
Yeah.
And Matt Reeves hadn't done that. And so we're like, oh no, is he fighting? Well, it makes sense. If there's something
big
personal,
big real life issues going on.
Yeah, big real life issues going on, that's going to keep you from finishing your script.
Yeah.
And everything. So it makes perfect sense now looking back on that.
Yeah.
And seeing this, I can see where you're coming from, that it might be someone who's going to step in and help Matt fill in for the second one and everything.
I still think it'd be his thing, right? Lucas didn't direct Empire and Jedi,
but it was still Lucas.
It's still
films.
Lucas, and I ultimately I still think this is Reeves' universe, right? Like, if they end up doing a Penguin season 2, it's going to be Reeves involved. So I don't think this means that he's out. I just think that it means that he may not have the time to dedicate 3 to 4 to 5, 6, whatever it might take to go film potentially somewhere far from home, right?
And it is a stressful situation because you do have to try to keep the secrecy because it is a comic book movie, and people are going to want to try to sneak into sets and stuff and spy on you. And when we had set leakage from the first Batman when they were filming the bike scenes in the graveyard and everything. So I get it. If he has something else going on, he's not going to want to do that right now.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, and again, this could be a clerical error as well.
It could be.
Again, I wanted to wipe it away because none of the rumors were from people that we've covered. I tend to, when I see leakers, I do judge them. I know there's certain ones that have good track records.
We covered one last episode where it's this guy's been right more times than he's wrong.
Yes, exactly. So, a lot of the places that were reporting this weren't even ones that were mid tier, where it's I would report it here and then say huge grain of salt because this place is 50-50. But to move it up, when I finally found that it was Production Weekly, they were all pulling it from, it made me wonder why more of the places that we tend to draw our news and rumors from haven't been covering this. It's all very recent too. This all happened in the last day. So, but you're so plugged into Batman shit. I was curious if you'd already seen some of the.
I have
not.
So,
also going back to the chat here, Mike says my money is on Batman 2 getting lost in the weeds and never finished. That's certainly a thought that some people are having. Hayden says James Gunn has an impossible task of making the DCU a powerhouse, which I understand. You can't have a successful franchise when there's a potential for Dick Grayson to show up. I'd make a crowbar joke, but I don't think that's the right one.
No, Jason Todd's the crowbar one.
Okay. He's the one that no one liked.
I don't know what Dick Grayson ever did to Hayden. Show me where the acrobat hurt you, Hayden.
Later on he does say just razzing Peter. It gives you some emojis there.
Sure.
And then Hayden did fill in and say a new day. It's Brand New Day, right? For Spider-Man.
I closed the tab, yeah.
And then Mike says you can't have a successful franchise when there's a potential for Dick Grayson to show up. LOL, Hayden. Tell us how you really feel. Oh, man.
It is Brand New Day.
Yeah, okay. So either way, all I'm saying is Production Weekly, I think we've well established it on the other show, but I want to at least do it here and now to say that Production Weekly, generally speaking, if I find that, I put a lot of credence in that.
Sure.
Because, there's no reason to obfuscate that. That's just, it is public, so like there is stuff sometimes there'll be. I mean, we've seen casting like leaks from that where it's like, oh, Hugh Jackman is on schedule for these dates for
Deadpool and Wolverine.
I mean, Deadpool 3, right?
Deadpool 3, yeah.
By the time
before the name, yeah.
Can you imagine if they just announced the name? Like the first thing they ever did was just announce that title. Can you imagine? Yeah. Like before there were any rumors about Hugh Jackman, before Production Weekly,
before the teaser with Ryan,
nothing. Yeah, just 100%. The very first thing, Ryan Reynolds posts a fucking Instagram picture of a script that says Deadpool and Wolverine. Can you imagine the fucking? The internet would have gone bananas. It would have absolutely gone bananas.
I don't know who Hayden's talking about. He says, "I just don't think having a super speedo and assisting a brooding rich orphan makes you special." I mean, that's describing half of superheroes right there.
Yep, indeed. All right, so let's move on over to the next one here. And this one is Marvel, because I realized I typed this out in a way that could be ambiguous. But the rumor is that Disney Plus Marvel shows are no longer going to feature film characters. So this is, quote, the upcoming Vision series is going to be the last Marvel series to feature major characters from the movies. This is, again, from a leaker that is proven over the years to be right more than wrong. So, and I would say 60 to 70% right. So like and usually when he's wrong, I honestly wonder at times because we've basically heard admission from Kevin Feige that they'll like leak shit that's fake on purpose. So it's like, okay, when I look at the 30% of the time or 25% of the time this guy's wrong, it's like how many of that is when they're feeding him bullshit, trying to get him to put bullshit out there, you know?
I wonder if there's the whole Fulcrum thing where like it's Harry Potter has a scene where there's a guy who's
I was about to say Ahsoka,
who is told to he was a double agent, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, you need to tell him the plan, but don't tell him all of the plan, otherwise you're gonna blow your cover. I wonder if that's part of this. Is like Disney probably has leakers.
Oh yeah,
because they want to put things out there like, hey,
feelers.
Hey Tad, put this out. I want to see how this goes on Reddit.
Yeah.
Put this out.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
And let's see how this goes. Vision season 2 is going to have Vision going through puberty, and it's going to be like, what the fuck is that shit? That's the stupidest thing I ever heard. Okay, let's change that. You know, never mind. Okay, that did not test well.
Yeah.
I wonder how much of what they give the person, because they want to keep them on their toes.
It's the Michael Scott.
Is how much do you tell them?
There's the episode where like he reveals one lie that like he finds out is real, and he's trying to gossip. So then he just starts like blanketing like lies.
The entire office is covered with
But then
lies.
he ends up hitting that Pam's pregnant or something like that. That's like actually real.
Yeah.
Like it's that kind of thing where it's like throw enough bullshit out there and it camouflages.
It covers the truth.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, and he goes on and says, you'll get mentions of major characters just like how Spider-Man was mentioned in Daredevil Born Again during the speech, where the newly elected mayor Wilson Fisk mentions a man dressed like in a spider outfit while condemning costume vigilantes. There are going to be a whole lot more references like that in the Marvel shows, but look for those shows to continue to be based around characters like Wonder Man, who arrive new to the MCU on Disney Plus in December, rather than Vision, a big screen character whom audiences have become accustomed to paying to see. So it sounds like that might be kind of the new strategy, probably because of Bob Iger's "we make movies, quit focusing on television."
Yeah,
as they might start making the television the breeding grounds for new like.
The up and comers.
Oscar Isaac. What I'm blanking. Moon Knight. Yeah, I don't know why. Sand was in my head because Egypt's shit. And of course Anakin hates sand. So Moon Knight, like that kind of thing. Like establish him to where now when you want to pull him into a movie, he's already fully established. You don't have to worry about an origin story or try to explain like, okay, what's the deal with this guy? Like you don't have to. So it kind of makes sense. I don't want to say I'm a little bummed because there was something kind of cool about like Loki and like Wanda and stuff like that.
Mike says in the chat, bye Hawkeye, and then Loki's show done. Loki's done. I mean,
and Hawkeye.
Is there another story there to tell with Loki?
No,
I think he's where he needed to be at the end of that show.
Yes, in the movies now.
But now it's going to go to the movies because of where he ended up at.
Yeah.
And Hawkeye's not happening because of what happened with the season 2.
Yeah.
He actually just did an interview. I don't know when. It just came across my Instagram reels.
Yeah.
Where they're like, so Hawkeye season 2? He's like, yeah, it's not happening. And they're like, why not? He's like, well, basically they came back and said, hey, we're going to ask you to do the same amount of work for half the price. Yeah. And he's like, no, I'm not doing that. So it's a Renner and Disney thing. So I think that's where Hawkeye's dead. Like
Yeah.
when it comes to that,
show.
maybe he'll show up in a movie or two.
Yeah. Which
but
he will. He'll definitely show up in movies. I have also seen some leakers, ones that are not, the ones that are legitimate, that have also said that was kind of a play by Disney to where like Hawkeye didn't perform well enough to justify the kind of budget it had. So like they basically offer him half because they were essentially going to cut the entire budget of the entire show down. And it's like, if we offer him half and he rejects it, now it's his fault that we're not doing season 2. It's not our fault. So, and not necessarily that it's even that Disney wanted to get, but it's a matter of like, there's performance and cost. And if the performance isn't high enough to justify the cost, like they're in it to make money. So this isn't, it's not like Marvel Comics. I mean, Marvel Comics is trying to make money too, but there is an aspect of like, we're a machine. We can put out whatever fucking comic we want. And the ones that perform well will help boost up the ones that don't, or whatever.
Yeah.
You're not like that with movies. Like these are hundreds of millions of dollars to make these TV shows and movies. So like they've got to perform. And I don't know if that's true. That's just something a leaker said. I didn't write it down, but now that we're into this Hawkeye conversation, that was maybe that it was some 3D or 4D chess going on with that, where it's like make him turn it down to where now he could always just sports does that all the time.
Oh yeah.
Like, hey, we want you to take a pay cut. No, you promised me that money. All right, this guy won't work with us, so we got to let him go. And it's like, you've now made him the villain when it's like all he wants is the money he was promised, right? Like, but franchise, big companies, corporations.
We asked him to restructure his contract, and he said no. Like, we were just trying to do what was right for the team, and he told me no. And it's like, you just asked me to go from my $5 million salary, which is what we agreed upon 4 years ago, to half a million or $1 million. Like, no, I'm not taking that. Imagine if your boss walked up to you, Ted, and was like, hey, I need you to take a 40% pay cut for the next 2 months.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
That's the response you would get. So,
exactly. But these big companies and sports teams, I put them in that same realm, are very good at manipulating the stories that way.
Yes.
So it kind of makes sense.
It's to make sure that they save face and everything. Hayden says, I also read that Feige is moving to reframe the major films as not needing a ton of backstory or massive arcs like there has been done historically. Which honestly, I kind of like that. Because I think that's one of the biggest components of the Marvel fatigue that we've had over the past about 6 years, is that during COVID, yes, I understand why they released a lot of stuff. I mean, but it's also the direction that they went. They decided to make WandaVision. They decided to make Hawkeye. They decided to make Loki. And all these things seemed fun, but at the end of the day, a lot of people are like, God, I got to go watch 8 episodes of Hawkeye. I got to go watch 10
like
episodes.
Homework.
Yeah, and in order to go watch Thunderbolts. And literally, I think you actually did for our buddy Caden, who went with us to see Thunderbolts. He doesn't watch every Marvel production like the rest of us psychos. You sent him a video of a recap that's like, here's what you need to know going into Thunderbolts. And a lot of it was Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is a Disney Plus show.
Yeah.
And so that's where Bucky was last and everything. So I get this, what Feige's saying and what Feige wants to do. I agree with that.
Yeah.
If you're going to have major films, keep the stories in film then.
Yeah.
Don't do back and forth, because that's hard.
It's kind of like the big events that Marvel Comics will do. A lot of times you'll have like a big event that'll have 8 to 10 issues. But on top of that, at the same time that those issues are being published, every standalone book kind of ties into that.
Yes.
Like Civil War. Civil War had 8 to 12 books, something like that. But during that same year, every Captain America issue, every Iron Man issue, every Spider-Man issue, every Fantastic Four issue was dealing with the Civil War. Now as a reader today, if you go to your comic app or whatever, you can go the extended reading order, which is everything that was published in that year, every fucking comic, or you can just mainline the event and you'll still be able to understand what's going on.
Exactly.
And I think
if you want the special Hulk edition that has this one-off story during it, where Hulk goes and does this one mission.
Yes, go read the Hulk's issues.
Hulk issues and everything.
And I think that's the model, I think, where the TV shows can establish new characters, and when they show up, they'll probably give a slight thing of like, oh, here's what I can do, or here's what you can do, or clue the audience into just what they need to know.
Who are you again?
Yeah,
I'm Moon Knight. I have an Egyptian god as I'm his vessel. It's
but if you want to go watch the show and be fully ingrained,
can do it.
I'm
gonna love when Avengers Secret Wars pauses And it's like, if you would like to know more about Moon Knight, please
Dude,
go check out Moon Knight Season 1 on Disney+.
Dude, you're not kidding. I was legit thinking, because in the comics, what they'll do, and sometimes it's just part, and you'll see it when we do the Secret Wars read in a month or so, is sometimes a guy will reference something, they'll give an asterisk, and then down at the bottom it'll say, see the first issue. Or sometimes
it'll tell you what comic to go read.
Like, and like you may be on the third book, but it'll be like, hey, he's referring to the first book. But sometimes it'll be like, oh, hey, go read Daredevil number 67 for what he's referencing here. They should legit do that. Have a freaking subtitle pop up and go, see Moon Knight. Because like it would be like it would fit the comic book thing, like just a little asterisk on the bottom, and it says, if you want this full story, go watch Moon Knight.
Hayden says, doesn't prevent them from pulling characters in, like Tad was saying, but you don't have to know X plot to get Y film, which is great. Yeah. And then Mike asked a question. I don't know if you want to answer that or not.
Why is Orgasmo prominently displayed over Tad's head? So that's my little, Peter has the board behind him.
Yeah.
I have my little, my movie I'll display. I've been doing it pretty much the whole time we've been doing YouTube for the most part. I'll just pick a random movie out of my collection and do it, and Orgasmo's an incredible movie.
When we covered Terminator 2, there was different copies of Terminator 2 up there. So
I realize my camera is a little off from what it should be. Usually you can see the edge of my shelf there.
Yeah, there we go. Pennywise.
But yeah, so that I just picked it because it was just the movie I randomly thought about, and I've been seeing a lot of reels with like the South Park creators talking through their processes and stuff, and those dudes are just geniuses. And Orgasmo is one of my favorite.
I need to watch that movie again. I've only seen it, I think, twice, and my wife's never seen it.
I am Sancho. All right, so next up.
Jesus, where?
Jesus, yeah. I always tell people Orgasmo is my favorite Mormon movie. Although Heretic now is a strong contender as well.
There,
so.
Yeah.
So next up, the next one here, Feige has a 10-year plan for X-Men, starting with Secret Wars. According to the Wall Street Journal, Feige has told colleagues that he does have a 10-year plan for the X-Men after their introductions into the MCU.
Excellent.
So Feige, also that was kind of a leak or whatever with like through the Wall Street Journal and colleagues. But then there's also some quotes that help add context to this, not necessarily like directly related to this, but they kind of speak to the same thing. Past comments that Feige's made, says, I think you'll see that that continues in our next few movies with some X-Men players that you might recognize. And then he goes on to say, right after that, the whole story of the Secret Wars really leads us into a new age of mutants and the X-Men. Again, it's one of those dreams come true. We can finally have the X-Men back. So,
nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, do we doubt Feige at this point? I would just...
All hell Kevin Feige.
Yeah, it's like he has a 10-year plan. I'm like, and the sky is blue. Like,
yeah.
I just... It's Feige, for God's sake. Like, this dude is not shooting from the hip. No. It doesn't seem like that's the
He's painted
MO.
the target with a laser from about 2 feet away. He's on target.
Yeah. And then next, the last one we've got here is also there we go. X-Men related. And it is a rumor that the X-Men movie that is coming up after Secret Wars is targeting Thunderbolts director Jake Schreier. I don't know if that's how you say it. So yeah, it sounds like he's in early talks to direct the X-Men film that's going to be coming post haste after Secret Wars. So it's a good. I fully endorse it. What he did with Thunderbolts, I think he would do a great job with the X-Men. So yeah, what do you think?
I'm excited. That'll be good.
Yeah. Let's see. And then what did Hayden say?
I don't know if you want to read it.
Peter getting bashful over here, huh?
I'm just saying, I don't know if you want to put that out there. It's up to you.
Let's see. Let me go look real quick at the email. I want to see, because I want to approach, we're moving to the main topic now. I want to
break free.
All right. Yeah. So let's go to the main topic, which is Thunderbolts. We'll talk briefly, no spoilers, just overall thoughts, reactions.
Yeah.
No spoilers, just kind of like we're watching and they haven't seen it yet. This is the point they can watch, and I'll give them a point when to say like, "Okay, now peace out." So what do you think? Knee-jerk reaction.
Okay.
Walked out of the theater. You want to tell someone that is maybe on the fence about going to see it. What do you say?
Go see it. It's a Marvel movie. What the hell are you doing? Kick him in the butt. That's what I would say. It's hilarious. It's got plenty of comedy, which is fun. I know that some people don't have that liking. Ragnarok was too funny.
For some, yeah.
Love and Thunder was too silly. You know, like there's a lot of people who didn't like those films. This is up there with some of the funniest Marvel films out there, but also at the same time has one of the greatest just like moments for film. I was initially harsh on it when I came out of the theaters on Thursday when we saw it last week. I think a large part of that was I was just fucking tired. The more I've thought about it, my complaints that I had when we walked into the theater, not justified.
Yeah.
The more I've thought about it, the more I want to see this movie again. I can't wait to see it again.
I was going to go see it Thursday, but I was pretty spent. I was pretty tired.
Pretty busy week this week for us.
Yeah, just in general. So, like, I was like, I actually had bought a ticket to go see it on Thursday. I ended up canceling it because I'm just too fucking tired, man. I want to see it again. I really do. But it wasn't the play. I'm like, I'll probably end up falling asleep, not because the movie's anything, nothing about the movie. It's more about where I'm at right now. Sometimes I just can feel myself and understand that, like, I don't have a movie in me. I will fall asleep.
I think that's where the problem was, is that I came off of a really rough week when Thunderbolts came out. And that day I was just, I was so tired. But, it's the premiere. I got to go, you know? So I went and everything like that. So I think that was my big problem is, like, I'll tell you my one big complaint when we get to the spoiler section, but remind me, because there was that one big complaint I had, and the more I've thought about it, the more I realize I'm wrong. So
okay, Hayden says probably one of the best Marvel movies, IMO. Super refreshing in many respects. And
Mike agrees.
Mike agrees. And I will say the same. I think this is.
Oh, Hayden, you're going to Alamo Draft House? I'm so jealous. I've always wanted to go there.
Yeah. So I will say. Phase 5 is what we just ended. Yeah. I think this is the best movie in Phase 5.
This ends Phase 5. I thought this started Phase 6.
No, that's Fantastic Four.
Okay.
So that's why my subtitle. But I keep mixing up 6 and 5 and 6. So that's why I was only doubting myself that this is the end of Phase 5. So
gotcha.
And Phase 5, there's been some good movies. Honestly, I'm not one of my biggest pet peeves. Marvel's so back. Like, Marvel's not gone anywhere.
It's never gone anywhere.
But I will say that I do think this is the strongest movie in the entire phase. You kind of highlighted some of the comedy, but I will say just as much. I think this is one of the most poignant Marvel movies that has ever been put out. There's a lot of realism. There's a lot of real there's subtext to this that is dealing with a lot of real things. And it felt, and it's funny because during the marketing they kept saying, like, this is a couple $100 million Marvel movie, but it really feels like an indie movie to us that we're making it and stuff. And like the director is one that he's just broken out of the indie film realm. He's done some really good stuff in the indie realm. And like, obviously because it's not Captain America and these crazy big characters, like, it allowed them, kind of like James Gunn back in 2014, he was allowed a lot of freedom because he has these oddball characters that no one's going to really care or look over his shoulder. And I think this is the same thing. And I think because that, it almost gave kind of like an indie vibe. And I think that, like, indie tends to deal a lot more with, like, real emotions and deeper things. Like, it's not just a surface level popcorn flick where you're just like, oh yeah, that was cool. Like, there's some shit in here where you're like, God damn. Like,
that gave me something to think about.
Yeah, that's kind of deep. So I will say, like, when you mention the comedy, I want to mention that as like the yin to the yang. Is for people that aren't into like the full-on comedy stuff. I do think this movie did a really good job of really having a heart and a spirit. And I'm not saying that other Marvel movies haven't had that, but I think this did it to a level that was incredible. And Florence Pugh. Florence Pugh. I mean, absolutely crushed it. I think that a lot of the marketing has given us the vibe that she's kind of the lead. There's no doubt, having seen it now, she is 100% the lead, and she's
which is kind of shocking, considering that there's Bucky in this film.
And I think that she is a fucking star too. Like, this really allowed her. They played her in a way to where you're able to see her as an actor go through a lot of stuff. Where I'm like, she could win an Oscar one day. Like, she's got talent. She is a talented.
Has she ever been nominated? I know she's done a bunch of really good stuff.
Off the top of my head, I don't know. I don't know that she was nominated for Oppenheimer. I don't think she was, but let's see. What am I missing in the chat? Hayden says
she was nominated in 2020.
For what does it say?
I'm looking.
Okay. Hayden says he's planning to see it next week in Austin at the Alamo Draft House.
Yeah.
Mike says that's a long drive, Hayden, to see a movie. And Yeah. Sarcasm mark there. Hayden says, "Ha, Mike. It's an add-on to an already planned trip." And then Mike says, "Tangent, how many phases will MCU make it through before a hard reboot?" I don't think there's going to be a hard reboot ever. I think you're going to see soft reboots, and I think we're about to see one on the other side of Secret Wars. I think that you're going to see kind of a soft reboot, because I still think there's going to be characters that carry over, like Kamala Khan, some of these younger characters that are being introduced, like they're not going to go away. But I do think that like I'm going to be shocked if we see Thor after Secret Wars, to be honest. I kind of wonder if they're going to wrap up, Thor and some of these other characters. But like a full hard reboot, it's hard for me to foresee that, because just the plates that Feige is spinning.
2020 Best Supporting Actress for Little Women.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I will. I could be wrong, but the way that the plates that Feige is spinning, I'd be shocked if we saw a hard reboot.
I don't understand how everyone is saying that like post Endgame has just been nothing but shit. That's the part that really gets me.
Yeah,
it's with Marvel fans.
It's a stupid
fans.
meme.
They're like, man, it just fell off after Endgame, because first off, the first movie after Endgame was Far From Home.
Yeah,
which I can't understand how anyone can say that. And maybe they're not considering that one.
No, and here's what I will speak to give, I guess, devil's advocate type thing. Endgame was the culmination of 15-something years of film.
Sure, that's
your grand finale. How are you going to then continue that fireworks show and not feel like there's a dip? Right, because you just culminated in this massive thing,
that's fine.
And you've now got to go back to rebuild, like building to your next culmination.
Yeah.
But your average audience member doesn't necessarily maybe look at that long view. They just look at it where it's like, oh my God, phase 3, and you look to that build up to Endgame and Infinity War, and it's like, holy fucking shit. And it's like they don't understand. Like, you got to now rewind and go back to phase 1 and 2 and lay the groundwork for your next one. And I just think some people are. Like, you and I look at it strategically. I think our listeners do too, to where it's like you can kind of see the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And I think the people that are in that realm, if they're expecting an Endgame level film beyond, like right away, they're setting themselves up for disappointment.
Sure.
And I'm not going to say that they're 100% wrong, because it is one of those things, like with the fireworks show, you pack up and go home, and you have to wait another year till another fireworks show.
Right.
With Marvel, though, it's kind of like sports or whatever. The next thing starts. Like, it just it never ends.
Time to get Thunderbolts is done. Time to get hyped for Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four is done. Great. Time to get hyped for Doomsday.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is like I feel like I get what you're saying, and I agree with you entirely. My problem is with the people who are saying nothing good has come out.
Yeah,
and that's the part that you're telling me through phase 4 and 5, there hasn't been a single good movie.
And I think that's the meme, and that's where like memes happen, where it's like someone says something, and everyone starts to gravitate to it, and this generalization becomes like what people think is the reality. But it's like you have to really squint your eyes and generalize to see it that way.
Yeah, because I don't know how you look at phase 4 and say Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Thor Love and Thunder, and Black Panther Wakanda Forever, that there's not a single good movie in there.
Yeah.
You're telling me that there's not a single good movie in that entire list.
And
you might have gripes with some of those movies, and some of them might be justified. But you're telling me that not a single one of them is good? That's the part that
sure.
That's the part that gets me, is when Thunderbolts has said, "All right, Marvel's finally back." It's like, back from what?
Yeah, exactly. And Mike says something, but I had a similar thought, and I'll say mine and then I'll read his. What I would say though is, again, if you are going to compare every single movie in your hand side by side, there we go, so it's on the camera, and say Endgame versus No Way Home, Endgame versus Doctor Strange, it's going to every one of them are going to lose.
Yeah, it's not fair.
It's not fair. But if that's what people are doing because they're slightly media illiterate, then that's maybe where some of the people are saying that is they're expecting. It's kind of like if the entire show is the grand finale, there is no grand finale, right? So it's like if everything were Endgame level, you need. The darkness makes the light shine brighter.
Everything,
like, you need ebbs and flows.
If everything is great, nothing is great.
Yeah. If a roller coaster were nothing but one singular drop, like that doesn't make sense. Like,
but when you come back up,
you need the
and then
come
go
ups.
down
You need
again.
you need those level points where you take little sharp turns up because you need to build back up to that.
That momentum, yeah.
Yeah, and that's ultimately what people need to get. Mike said it great. The post Endgame is bad crowd are basically comparing Godfather 2 to every other mob movie and saying it's not as good as that. It's not a fair comparison. So
Yeah,
exactly what I'm saying,
100%.
just saying it even better to me because Godfather 2 to comparing anything to like
Yeah,
the
you
Godfather
take Donnie
films.
Brasco compared to Godfather 2, it's not no contest.
Yeah.
But Donnie Brasco's still a good movie.
Yeah.
That's the problem I have.
Yes.
That's where I have a problem with is yes, you're comparing Endgame to Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. You can compare that. But don't say Spider-Man No Way Home is a bad movie.
Yeah, no.
That's the part that
It's-
gets me is that
yeah.
everything is bad.
Yeah, and Hayden says hyperbole is the cheap endorphin hit for low-minded audiences online.
Yes.
Yeah, and exactly, I think that's exactly right. So I think that would be the general topics.
Yeah.
So let's move over to the spoiler section now. So if you've not seen Thunderbolts yet, turn the episode off now. Come back later after you've seen it, because we are now moving into the spoiler section. So I guess I could even go over here and go.
Warning.
Hey!
Spoilers ahead. Warning. Spoilers ahead. Warning.
I like it.
Spoilers ahead.
That is a Dark Tower Palaver sound bite here, but we're crossing streams because that's a good thing to do, right?
Absolutely.
That's what Ghostbusters taught me. Always cross the streams. So,
Yeah.
all right, moving on over. Let's go ahead and change the slide.
Let's fix it. There we go. That's better.
Yeah, so now we're diving on in full on
To the new Avengers.
to the new Avengers, the new title of the movie.
Yeah.
It does seem like they're legitimately retitling it. I mean, the only places I'm still seeing Thunderbolts is like the stuff that is not going to be really easy to change, like when you go to like Regal, like the actual like software of Regal when you're buying the movie ticket says Thunderbolts, but the poster says New Avengers. It's like because going in and having them recode all of that to change the title of a movie
Yeah.
mid-release, that's probably unrealistic.
Yeah.
But I believe
I
that
bet you money it's going to come to Disney Plus as New Avengers.
yes, agreed. I don't think that you're going to see Thunderbolts as a title.
Anywhere.
Except for when you see the opening title card when
Yeah.
you watch the movie, but when you go click on it in Disney Plus or when I go buy my Blu-ray copy, it's going to say New Avengers, I
Yep.
believe. So, also I'll take a little bit of a victory lap. I feel like I've been predicting it for a long time that was the asterisk's purpose
Yep.
is that they were gonna be redeemed.
Yep.
Now I was like torn between whether it be Dark Avengers because a lot of this team from the outset of not knowing anything, a lot of these have played villainous roles.
Yeah.
So it's like this could very well be the Dark Avengers, which is a thing in the comics, or it could be the New Avengers, like, or it could just be the Avengers. I remember also.
every single one of them plays a villain. So
Yeah. At one point, I speculated it would just be the Avengers, and that maybe Sam might show up and be like, "Hey, you guys just saved the city. Like, I need to rebuild the Avengers. Like,
Yeah.
you guys just did a great job. Like, be the foundation of the new Avengers with me, like type thing."
Yeah.
So I've had a lot of speculation, but I kind of assumed that ever since January, when I started to think, like, wait a minute, why is this one coming second?
why?
Like, that was just a weird question, but it was a profound one, and it spiraled me to the point where, like, I've had high expectations of this movie, like, in terms of the larger lore, pretty much since January. So,
Why am I out here catching strays, Mike? What was that for?
what?
Sponsored by Peter's Pet Shop. Child biters on sale, 50% off. What? Where'd that come from? That's out of left field.
I don't know, but you've had children, so
I do.
You should be.
I do. I haven't had. I have children.
Well,
you know?
I'm saying you've had in terms of
Yeah.
the action of you've had children. So, like,
I
you know,
understand the reference, Mike. I'm just wondering where it came from. We're not. Wait, what? I'm blindsided. Caught me off guard.
I love it. I love it.
Kind of like Jake felt on the bridge.
So I feel like what I wanted to establish for a few different episodes now, and I don't have it solidified yet. MVP. I want to get some like almost like sports where you have like certain things that are won.
Yeah.
MVP actor wise.
Actor-wise, so their performance, basically.
Yeah. What actor stole the show?
Not the character in the story, but the actor's performance.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. The Harbor.
Oh, really?
David Harbour for Red Guardian.
Okay.
Yelena, don't go in there.
For me,
Yelena.
it's Florence. I feel
mean-
like her performance is just.
Oh, don't get me wrong. That's the best performance, but the one that just like was, dude, he was so funny.
Oh, no, he was. He was great. I'm also glad he didn't die. I was predicting that he might die, kind of being that older character that was from a bygone era. Like this could be the point that like he sacrifices himself for his daughter or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm glad he didn't because I really love the character.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see him with more stuff. What about MVP character? Who's your favorite character?
That's where Florence is
Okay.
the one.
Yeah.
Is like performance-wise, David Harbour's performance for Red Guardian is just all over the top. It's hilarious. It's phenomenal. But Yelena in the story and everything like that is just, it's so good.
Yeah.
It is. Maybe I have those backwards, but
Yeah.
to me, I think Yelena is the reason why this story was so good.
Yeah, she was the magic for the whole thing
Yeah.
too. And maybe I'm having a hard time separating her performance because her performance was multifaceted too.
Yes.
Like there was a lot of depth. Lewis Pullman too, though. There was a lot to his character,
Bob.
his performance, man. His performance is incredible. But I think I would give it to her. I almost called her Yelena. To Florence Pugh. Favorite scene?
Oh, don't go in there! Like the waving. He gets out of the limo and he's waving, and then into the chase with Bucky showing up, and it's the Winter Soldier.
I love
so
that
cool.
guy.
I
Yeah.
love that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so great.
Yeah, he's great. I will say for movies in general, what I'm going to say too, post-credit scenes don't count.
Yeah.
For these type things, like favorite scene can't be a post-credit scene.
Obviously.
Because even throughout the history of Marvel, sometimes the post-credit scenes are for a different movie. Like the one was Thor's hammer. Like they literally just took a scene from Thor and put it in the.
That's
the
what
post-credit,
the end credit of Love and Thunder was the trailer for Doctor Strange,
yes,
wasn't it?
the Captain America that was a trailer for Avengers. Like
Yeah.
so like I think. Some of them are more attached to the film,
Yeah.
but I do think we should make it a general rule that when we're talking favorite scenes or least favorite scenes,
Okay.
post credits should be completely off the table. And that's right. I don't have it all solidified yet. So favorite scenes. I guess we already talked about our overall view of it. So go ahead and dive in. I have some other notes and stuff, but let's just.
Well, yeah. Let's dive into the thing I teased during the non spoiler section. Is that when I came out of the theaters, I did have one gripe, and like I've already said, this is completely unjustified because the more I've thought about it, the more I realize I was wrong. Is that I'm done with the Disney, Marvel, cinema. Stop giving me a sympathetic villain. Stop for a while. Just give me a couple movies where I got a bank robber or someone who just wants to blow up the goddamn world and everything like that. The problem was I was thinking wrongly. Sentry's not the villain.
Yeah.
DeFontaine is. And she's exactly what I've been asking for.
Or the Void.
The Void and Sentry, hand in hand,
Kinda.
So, but Fontaine is exactly what I was asking for.
Yeah.
And I realized that a couple days after we went and saw it, I'm just like, God, she just wants power.
Yeah.
She just wants people under her thumb. She wants to rule the world.
Yeah.
That's what I've been asking for.
And
she doesn't have some sympathetic background story. She's just
Yeah.
a bad person.
And I was going to say, I think I saved it because I didn't want to speak too much outside the theater and save some of it for here. But the one thing I was going to tell you is if that was truly your desire, I'm like, you're watching the wrong franchise. Like Marvel is just not going to do that because Marvel has always been so good and their villains have always been so nuanced that they'll give you both sides. Like the Thanos thing.
Yeah.
Thanos, you see both sides, like his side of it too, where it's like, you may not agree with him, but you could sympathize a little bit.
Well, no,
and
we just had one.
Marvel's always done that. I mean, Magneto's that way, Doctor Doom's that way. All of these great villains that have lasted, decades. In Marvel, especially, I think DC's done less good at this. I think DC tends to make just more dastardly villains. But Marvel's always done it to where it's like, because they're able to then tell more stories when it's
Right.
like, when you see the Holocaust background of Magneto or whatever. So I almost said that to you there, but I saved it because it's just like, I'm not going to say that there's not going to be absolute villains, but that is a little bit more rare, especially when you get to like the top tier guys like Doom and Magneto and Thanos.
See, and that's what I'm saying is like I understand that we're going to have that, but what my complaint is I don't want it every single movie. Every single villain doesn't have to be sympathetic. It's like Hayden King, come on.
But even Kang, there's like layers to him too.
Yes,
like
and I get that when you have like the big villain and everything like that. But what I'm saying is like there is villains in every superhero. Name a superhero. There's a villain that's just unredeemable.
yeah,
Like Lex Luthor is not one that you're going to be like, oh, I feel bad for him. No.
Yeah.
The guy's a piece of shit.
But here's where and the reason I think Marvel's done it more than like DC is because I think that generally those are like not lazier, but those are less compelling villains, generally speaking. When they're just like mustache twirling Bond villains, I feel like that's less impactful than like Magneto, where the audience is like uncomfortable, or it's like.
But what it comes down to is that emotionally, when I'm watching a movie, I don't want that every single time. Sometimes I want that Bond villain. I want that mustache twirling. What I'm saying is that when's the last time we had that? That's all I'm saying.
I mean, Guardians 3.
Exactly. Guardians 3,
for sure.
which was...
I could think through some others, but right off the top of my head, like...
I mean, if we go through all of Phase 5, we have Kang...
He's got to be one of the most dastardly, right?
We have Kang in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which, of course, we're not going to have any more of him.
Yeah.
But, like you said, layers.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think we might get a scene of Doom wiping him out.
Yeah.
So...
Guardians of the Galaxy 3 we already covered.
Hayden, you that face rip.
Yeah. The Marvels, sympathetic villain. She just wants to save her planet.
Yeah.
Right? Captain America Brave New World. Who's the villain?
The leader.
The leader.
Which is villainous. Like he's
villainous. He wants revenge.
Yeah.
Right. And then Thunderbolts, we have Fontaine, which just wants to rule the world and is using Sentry as her tool.
Yeah.
So the last two, great. That's all I'm saying. But when you go back through and you look at like Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, No Way Home, Multiverse of Madness, Love and Thunder, Wakanda Forever. Don't give me 7 in a row. I'm saying just mix it up. Every now and then, throw in one. That's all I'm saying.
And I don't think that you're going to, just because of how limited the MCU has to be. Like they're picking their punches, and like a lot of these reveals are things that are going to pay off, like Namor or Sentry.
Sure.
Like they're ones that are going to potentially, they start as villains, but then they become heroes down the road or whatever.
Right.
And it's like, rather than wasting a movie on just like a one-time whatever, like they want to, like they're trying to build this universe out.
Sure.
And as part of that, they're going to end up picking like more complex villains and just like.
But we've had several a lot of Marvel movies that have just those villains that want revenge, they want power, and everything, and those movies are still good. And that's what I'm saying is, like, I understand wanting to build something, but not every single one has to be that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
and I'm not even saying that it has to be 50-50. I'm saying if you make 10 movies, give me 8 that have deep villains, and give me 2 that are just like, I want to blow up fucking New York. Fuck New York. I'm tired of it. I want to blow it up. Vulture.
Yeah.
All he did was want to make a buck. That's
Yeah.
it. He was just stealing shit.
Yeah.
You know? That's all I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
like, give me 2 of those for every 10 movies.
And I think that
make.
you can't look at it mathematically like that. I think that's the mistake, because like it comes down to what the fit. Like they're not looking. I mean, to an extent, Feige looks at it in a grander scheme, but he's not sitting there calculating out like sympathetic villains versus not.
Sure.
He's just looking at a matter of like, okay, we need this character introduced. We need this, like we need these characters pushed to this point. Like he's looking at it from a larger scale. So I don't think that pattern that you're seeing is something that anyone else is really paying attention to, because that's like in the long term it'll balance out, not balance entirely, but you're gonna see it because it depends on what
I might get 4 in a row and then 1. I might get 7 in a row and then 2 and everything like that.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. I want the writers of the world to be aware. Sympathetic villains is being overdone. Across all cinema, it's being overdone.
Yeah,
I want to go back to the age where Scar's a bad guy. Like, I'm sorry. What the fuck are we doing where Scar has to have a sympathetic backstory?
And it's ultimately a matter of taste, and I'll say I disagree with you. I think that sympathetic villains are always going to be more interesting. So
I don't think that in the end, when you, especially if you rewrite it to where you take someone who isn't sympathetic and makes them sympathetic. I'm sorry, Die Hard is one of the best action movies of all time because Hans Gruber has there's no sympathy.
That's also
for
40
that.
years ago.
That's what I'm saying. It's like we're swinging too far one way.
We evolve, and we've evolved to the point where it's a world of gray hats, not white and black hats. So you're always going to see more nuance, and it makes it more. It usually makes it more interesting. Where it's like, I don't know, and it's not to say that again you're even justifying the villain. It's more of just a fact of whatever. But yeah, again, it's a matter of taste. But Yeah, of course, Elaine is as villainous as
Oh
you
yeah,
can get. So.
exactly. And that's all I was saying is like I was wrong about that. It's not Sentry and the Void aren't the villain of the story. Fontaine is. Absolutely, she is.
Yeah, I mean,
100%.
Yeah,
Because Sentry doesn't go bad if it's not for her.
yeah,
So that's where it is. You know, that's where you have to ask the question: like, is Loki the bad guy in Avengers?
I mean, he's being used, but
Exactly.
but he also has villainous intent. Like
Exactly.
he doesn't get his redemption till later on.
See,
so.
and Bob, Sentry, Void, they don't know any better, kind of thing.
Well, the Void is that's as dastardly and evil as you get. That is
Yeah.
literally the manifestation of every negative element of his character
Yeah.
being personified.
Right.
So,
I mean, we all have that. If everyone had their personality stripped down to the worst
the
traits,
good and bad.
everyone's going to have that.
Yeah.
It's not just him. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm
They
saying. it's like,
also did polish him up a smidge. They didn't lean heavily into like his drug use and stuff because like in the comics, like he is like a drug addict and like the thought process. I think they touched on it a little bit that he was
looking for drugs.
he had
yeah.
used drugs and stuff and like he's a methed up chicken or whatever. Like so they did it, but not as over because like in the comics it was a thing where it's like this serum has not worked on anyone, but it did work on him. We wonder if all of the fucking narcotics that this dude is constantly doing was part of like some magic perfect alignment of things that allowed the serum to work. And so he's just like just not a good dude. He has a lot of trauma. And I mean, I think they dabbled a little bit in that, but like, I still don't think we've explored him super heavy yet.
Yeah.
Which is good. That gives us room to explore him further. But I think once you explore more of like all of his backstory and realize how fucked up his life has been, it makes so much sense why the Void is what it is, right? Like,
it's just like the Winter Soldier when you realize. I saw someone saying like, "What's Bucky's real trauma?" And then it flashed on the screen. You know, like he's over 100 years old. All of the people that he knew from his previous life are dead. You know, like war crimes that he's committed, people he's murdered, people he's hurt, and everything like that. It's like, yeah, it makes sense why he's traumatized. You know, like shit, the guy's been through enough.
Yeah.
Same thing with Bob.
Yeah. Let's see. Hayden says this film did have a ton of mental health framing, which was rad.
Yes.
And I agree. And that's one of the things I really loved about it. And that's the thing that felt very almost like indie to me, because generally in a big couple $100 million popcorn summer movie, this is the kickoff of the summer blockbusters.
Yeah.
You're usually not getting that kind of depth of subtext.
Yeah.
Usually it's very just like Arnold, good. You know, Colombian drug lords, bad.
Yeah.
Like, just
blow them up.
Yeah, kill 200.
Shark eat people.
Yeah.
Shark bad.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to like look down on it because I love popcorn movies. I love summer movies, but like generally speaking, they tend to like try to draw to a broader audience, which means that it is going to be simplified down to very simple things.
Bad guy, bad. That's what I'm saying. Is like that's not necessarily a bad thing. Every once in a while, just don't do it. Just don't do the sympathetic villain every time. So to see them do this, it was nice. It is refreshing to see that and everything. But Sentry, like, I don't believe Sentry's the bad guy. I don't think the Void and Bob and Sentry, I don't know what you want to call them. Like, Bob, you know, Void is just his dark half and everything like that. Just like Bucky and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
We've had conversations about this. Is the Winter Soldier a bad guy?
But he is very, like, Bucky is mind controlled.
Yes.
The Void is like a bipolar thing. Like it flips from one to the the other. Like
he can't control it.
Yeah, he
though.
can't control it, and
that's
but
where
nobody controls it.
That's where it comes down to is it different? I understand where you're coming from. Mind control, someone's controlling Bucky. To make him the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, and whereas
the Void can't control it. So,
and those are the true bad guys,
I guess
right?
a better example would be, is Hulk a bad guy?
And those are the guys, the ones controlling Bucky are the true villains, right?
Yes,
They're the ones
exactly.
that they wind him up. So like when he's like killing,
and then point him at Howard Stark.
When he kills someone, it's like, you know, like now I'm not going to say that Iron Man had no right to be mad because like you
absolutely
you did kill my
parents.
parents.
He killed my mom.
But on top of that though, ultimately it is the people winding up the fucking key in his back, and he's the fucking symbol monkey. They're the ones that are the villains because he's the bullet. They're the gun that pointed and pulled the trigger to send him.
He's the gun.
Whereas the Void is like just this fucking it's I like, because again, it's like Hayden said, it's a mental health kind of thing where it's like bipolarism, where it's like it's going to go back and forth between the Sentry and Void, kind of like Moon Knight. I don't know why I keep fucking blanking on his name. There's multiple personalities there, and they all have different compunctions. They all have different ways of doing things. They all have different bloodlusts.
They also have different morals. That's the thing.
And
like
moral compasses.
When you look at the 3 that Moon Knight exhibit throughout the series, all 3 of them are very different morally and everything. Same thing with Bob. You have Bob, Sentry, and the Void.
Yeah.
Bob and the Sentry are pretty close, I feel. And then the Void, who, just a little girl, right in front of Red Guardian.
That is one of the best. That's one of the best moments in the movie. Oh my god, dude!
Of course you say it's one of the best.
Oh my god, dude! It is incredible. It is. I wanted to stand up and applaud.
You excited for reaction videos?
Oh, dude, yeah.
when it comes out and people watch it for the first time and they have that scene.
Oh, dude.
Someone's gonna need to make a compilation of all of those.
Yeah. Also, I will say, I don't have it on my list, but the director did say that Sentry was inspired by Hiroshima with the shadow effect of the people that were completely vaporized to shadows. So that was legitimately, because I thought that when I first saw it in the trailer, I'm like, that looks like atomic weaponry. I mean, I know it's not an atomic bomb. It's the Void. But the way it was executed, I was like, that reminds me of Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yes.
And he's overtly said that was his inspiration, because he knew that would be something that would trigger people in a way of understanding the gravity of that.
Yes.
So
Mike says Bob needs a movie with Richard Dreyfuss. And then Hayden says Mark Spector, Stephen Grant, and Jake Lockley for Moon Knights. And then he gives a glasses emoji.
I always, and you don't see it as well on here, but the one that has kind of the nerdy teeth and the glasses, I always think of that as the Hayden emoji. Not trying to be derisive. Hayden wears glasses.
Hayden wears those kinds of glasses too.
He gets the goofy grin all the time. And he has a pillow of it in his living room.
Does he really?
Yeah. Have you not seen that?
No, I haven't noticed it when I'm over.
It's great. Let me read Mike's email real quick.
Okay.
And I have some other notes too, but I want to get it just so I don't end up. It's at the bottom of my list. And I don't want to short it. So.
He did just mention it in the chat too, so I'm glad you're reading it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he says, Heil, Tad, and Peter.
Heil.
That's from the other show, but
We'll
take it. I went to see Thunderbolts yesterday, May 3rd. I'll be at one of my kids' activities the whole day for episode 59, so I figured I'd send in my thoughts. I guess he did say he was able to make it. So, need an email jingle. Tad, it only seems fair that you sing this one.
Yeah, Tad, go ahead. Sing us an email jingle. Let's hear it.
Oh, I don't think so. Oh, you wouldn't have done it if I asked you either. You did it and just happened to do it while it was being recorded.
Absolutely, I would. I'll give you a new one right now if you want. I'm just a monkey. You just tell me what to do and I'll do it.
Say Flag is the hero.
Flag is the hero.
Look at that.
Nothing.
All these years. That's all it took. It says spoilers ahead. He says, my first thought coming out was this is the darkest movie in the MCU by a mile, literally and figuratively. There was at least 3 mentions of doing meth. The movie took a hard look at mental health issues, Bob and other characters. The saddest part here is the end result with Bob is that he can't be trusted and will never live up to his potential. Yelena was the most successful in healing from her issues and moving on, but she's not out of the woods yet. So just to pause there, I kind of saw you grimacing a little bit, probably thinking Infinity War would probably be the biggest competitor for Darkest. But I think with the added element of mental health with this more, in terms of the scale of what Infinity War meant and the snap.
I think there's 3. It's New Avengers, Thunderbolts, Infinity War, and then No Way Home.
Yeah,
dude, the loss of May after 3 movies. Peter almost losing himself only to be stopped by Peter.
Yeah.
And then actually losing himself.
And also that's Peter Prime, by the way.
It is. Maguire.
To hell with Tom Holland. You're not Prime Spider-Man. Now he's my favorite Spider-Man. He's my favorite Spider-Man. But
no.
I'm not again, it's Prime Spider-Man is Sam Raimi.
No, Tom Holland is Spider-Man. I'm sorry. Tobey Maguire's great. Don't get me wrong, but Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Tobey Maguire is Prime Spider-Man.
No,
he's the original.
He's not. No.
Again,
original. I'll give you original. Don't say Prime. He's not Prime.
He is because
he is not the main Spider-Man.
Prime means original. Like when you say like in the Star Trek, the reboots where like the Spock from the old universe crossed over into the reboot universe, they called him Spock Prime because Prime means like the base, the original, like whatever. So yeah. And then he goes on and says one character gets shot through the face point blank. They use her helmet to keep the gore to a minimum, but it's still pretty brutal. Honestly, that's not a bad point. Then they loot her like a video game, Fallout. Anyone? Which I know Peter appreciates.
I do. I love Fallout. Season 2 of Fallout just wrapped, and you didn't cover that in the news. How dare you?
There's a lot I didn't cover. I actually speaking of Hiroshima, it reminded me. James Cameron has the Ghosts of Hiroshima. There's a new book coming out called Ghosts of Hiroshima. He's going to be adapting it. It's going to be the first thing he's adapted that's non-Avatar since 2000 or since 97.
Jeez.
Since 1997. And the book has not been released yet. It's releasing on August 8th. The anniversary of Hiroshima, and this year is the 80th anniversary of Hiroshima, and I believe he just nabbed Martin Sheen to narrate the book, and he's like footing the cost on it. So
Nice.
There's a couple things in the news that I skipped. I didn't want to short this conversation. We've had with doubling up with Daredevil Born Again. There's some stuff that ended up getting a little bit short change. So I wanted to make sure we had plenty of room for Thunderbolts here, and this is a huge movie too. Another character is having marital problems stemming from either PTSD or imposter syndrome or a combination of both, and the wife leaves him as well. So I do want to talk about him a bit too.
Wyatt?
Like Wyatt Russell. What the U.S. agent? I forget his name. John Walker.
John Walker. That's the actor's name, not the character.
Wyatt Russell.
John Walker is his his character's name. My bad.
And he says, and the main character straight up kills people to help a terrible person cover up her terribleness. Not to mention all the New Yorkers who got sucked into Bob's shadow and had to face their worst parts of their past. Strong case to be made that, because again, even Infinity War, that wasn't dark until the last couple minutes.
No.
Like, I mean, yes, Thanos is kind of winning. But
There's hope, though.
The true darkness isn't until like Thor didn't go for the head, and it's like, oh shit, what just happened? And it's like, what is it?
It's post snap that gets dark.
Yeah, and then like even like in Endgame, so it's like if you want to look at it, this whole movie almost wall to wall is pretty.
See you, Hayden.
Pretty
Thanks
dark.
for showing up, man.
All right, yeah. Thanks, Hayden. Thanks for joining. Hopefully, we made mowing the lawn a little better.
Yeah.
And then he goes on and says, they had me going for a while. I was really wondering if this is going to make up the next Avengers team. I both loved and hated this idea, and I didn't understand what the remaining Avengers would have been doing the rest of the time, unless they get written off because the actors want to move on or too much money, etc.
That's what we talked about outside of the theater. Is what Avengers?
Yeah,
like where is everyone right now? Is the question?
Yeah, because I think Sam has got to build out his Avengers, and I think we kind of know who's going to be on the team, right?
I mean,
Shuri.
We got Shang-Chi, Shuri,
yeah,
maybe Namor,
Doctor Strange,
probably not.
Wong.
I don't know about Doctor Strange, man. He's gone.
Well, Wong,
yes.
Doesn't matter. Wong's the Sorcerer Supreme anyway. So yeah,
gonna slander over Doctor Strange here, huh?
He is the Sorcerer Supreme.
I mean, yes, on a technicality. Doctor Strange is back. He should get the title back.
I don't know. Wong might be doing a good job. So
I mean, a lot of shit's gone down on his watch, and he hasn't done a shit about it.
Also, some of the memes about the Void stuff, like the one I think I may have even sent it in the group where it's Fisk and it's him with the kids singing in the classroom. Peter is definitely May dying.
Yeah,
that would have been him. So yeah, it's kind of a dark. Also, Daredevil's girlfriend now has a very interesting job as the czar of mental health, because New York is now going to be reeling from the events here. So
luckily, that little girl who got dusted doesn't have anything horrible in her life. You know, she's too young to have anything like truly traumatic, right?
I mean, bullying happens at a young age, so there's maybe some. I think we all love to think as adults, like, oh, kids just have this easy life, nothing like us as adults.
Oh,
it's
no.
Like, there's some pretty shitty things that happen in kids' lives, man.
Yeah, but she's like 4 or 5. I doubt that she's even started school, so fingers crossed, right? That she's not
Yeah.
coming from an abusive home where
I was about to say there's some.
watch her come from like an abusive home, and that's what she has to relive.
I will
God.
say I know you might
That's what you would hope for.
You may call me
monster.
You may call me terrible. Here.
I mean, I do every day.
But I will say I was a little bit disappointed when it wasn't like them being obliterated. It's just I don't know.
The fact that she came back disappointed.
Not
you.
her, just all of because
Yeah.
there's an element. I mean, I knew at a certain point though where I'm like, this is going too broad. You can't actually have these people dead. Like,
Yeah.
because once it started happening to this scale, it was happening. I'm like, there's no way. Like, you can't.
Like if they had stopped it after like 5 or 6 people, you're like, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
But
If it was like a city
then
block,
then as soon as it's like all of Manhattan, you're like, yeah, this ain't happening.
yeah, there's no way. This has got to get rolled back somehow. So, he says my 1,000% standout performance is Julia Louis-Dreyfus. There's
MVP.
covers the MVP. She nailed the scummy person in charge no one likes but can't get rid of. Her interactions with Mel as her Dr. Watson was fantastic. The end part where she pivots to putting together the new Avengers from the creating the planet's super strong protectors is exactly the type of snatch of victory from the jaws of defeat that I expect from my villains. And for a while, I really thought Mel was sleeping with the fishes. I
thought she was done.
I thought so too. She is a comic character though.
Yes.
So there's some possibility that down the road she might be an important person.
Yeah.
I hope to see Geraldine in the future movies as a skeptical minion. And yeah, I think that we're going to see her. I was wondering if they might wrap Elaine up with this and not like this would kind of be her swan song.
Yeah.
But honestly, the way it ended, like, I think she might be around for a while longer.
Yeah.
So, which means that Geraldine would probably also be there.
Yeah.
So, overall, I really like the movie. I'm a sucker for misfits, and these guys are the misfits. Being sued by Sam Wilson is an exclamation point here. I really like my superheroes having to deal with realistic flaws, and the Thunderbolts is that in spades. I give it 8 out of 10 flags. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. The end credit, and then the end credit scene we're getting to. I'm going to pause that. What else do you got to cover before we start? I mean, I know we have some time still, but like, I feel like the post credit scene also was going to carry into like, what does this lead us to? And I want that to be a separate conversation. So, is there anything else for this movie wise before we start moving into that? I do have some notes as well.
I do have one major gripe with this movie. I love how they can, in the same conversation, talk about how the last president resigned because he turned into a Red Hulk, and then say there's no heroes left. No, there's no Avengers. No one's coming to save us. It's like, what the fuck? Did you not watch Captain America? Like stop the Hulk? Like, what the hell are we talking about here?
Yeah, but
that part
they
pisses me off.
Yeah, but I don't think that the
They're slandering Captain America. They're saying he's not around. Like, bullshit.
No, not in that context, right? Like the situation they're dealing with, he's not going to be able to come and get involved in this.
He could have.
We don't know. We don't even know what he's doing.
Yeah.
He might be off some God knows where. Like
because he's not an agent of the government is what they're saying.
Well, he might also be going to Wakanda to talk to Shuri.
Yeah.
He might be building his Avengers team out. Like
He could be.
So
to say that there's no heroes left really just kind of irked me. It's like, did we just forget like Captain America just like saved the fucking planet? Like, stopped World War III. Like, we're just going to ignore that, All right. Okay. Okay.
I don't think it's ignoring. I think it's just the natural state of thing. Like a full Avengers team, that's where you get like a lot broader protection. But like none of that exists. If it's just Captain America, you can't count on that. That's kind of like into the whole realm of like Superman gets into that idea of like the mathematical odds most people have of like actually ever even glancing at Superman. I think Batman's the same way.
Yeah.
Where it's just like the size of that city.
You have a better chance of hitting the lottery than seeing him.
Yeah.
That's what the one guy says in the Batman.
And so if it's singularly Captain America and it's not just a city now, I mean, I guess Superman is kind of for the whole world too.
Yeah.
But if he's like protecting the entire fucking continental and the two freak states, United States, like he's not going to be a dude that you can count on to like show up at every given time.
Yeah.
Like he's not super. He's not flying like Superman that can go in like this faster than the speed of light and
Sure.
arrive wherever. So it could get into that realm, and I think that's where it comes down to not taking anything away from him as much as it's like if he's a singular thing, and even there, it's like, does that mean that he's fully back as Captain America? Is he reestablishing the Avengers? Nobody might know that. They may not have come out on stage in a coming out party of like, here's our new Avengers.
Right.
I've reestablished it. The Avengers were obviously broken, but I put this team back together. Here they are, Wong, all these, Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Let me introduce, like, maybe that hasn't happened yet. So for most people, it's just like, okay, you got 1.5 guys.
I understand that, but this isn't most people. This is what's bothering me is that this isn't average Joe on the street saying this. This is someone before a Senate commission saying this, and everyone is just going, "Oh yeah, she's right. There is no more Avengers. There is no. There is no heroes and everything like that."
If you're talking her argument,
that's what I'm talking about. That's literally the person that said it in the film. She said it.
They said it later on.
She said it in her thing. The Avengers are gone. There are no more heroes.
Yeah. Well,
we have no one.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, the fuck you talking? Why didn't someone pipe up and go, "What the fuck you talking about? Captain America just averted World War III."
Then I'm putting way more thought into your, because that's an easy answer. He's not part of the government, so he doesn't count.
So they're not putting stock into someone who just averted, World War III. That's all.
Yeah, because he's not on the payroll, right? Even in the early MCU, Rhodey was always there as the governmental part of it, where it's like we know we have at least one part that we always control. And not to say that like they were fully rebellious against the government anyway. They got there, but
the Sokovia Accords were repealed. That's the thing, is like they're not supposed to be under government control. So to say like, well, he's not part of the government. Well, yeah, because you guys fucked up. Like that's not on him.
But that's going to be her argument though, because she's a governmental agent, where it's like
right.
It doesn't mean like we as the country and we as the world. It's we as the U.S. government. There is nothing. We have no heroes anymore.
Yeah.
Like I need to forge something new, because I was thinking later on there's a point when it's like, well, who do you think, like, because there's that Bucky or something that says like, who do you think is going to show up? Like, no, we have to deal with this.
Yeah, it's when he's got them all tied up.
That's what I was thinking. You were
talking
talking
I'm talking about Fontaine saying before the Senate commission.
And also,
there are no more heroes. Like, fuck you. Fuck you.
Also, she's a villain, so you're getting this worked up about what a villain says?
Yeah, like I always do. That's what I do. Is the slander of them on. This is twice now in 2 movies that Captain America's been disrespected. Put some fucking respect on his name. He's Captain fucking America. And then for them to steal the Avengers name, fuck them too. Nah. I hope Sam wins this lawsuit and bankrupts them. I do have to say,
how's he going to afford a lawyer? He can't even get his mortgage paid for in the Falcon and Winter Soldier. So.
He got it handled. It's fine. Mike says it's the "what have you done for me now" mentality. Wilson saved Washington D.C., not New York City. Yeah. I mean, but the Senate commission and stuff like that is happening in D.C., not New York.
Yeah,
but
nobody cares about anything other than New York.
Right.
In Marvel, I mean,
that's true. It is New York City.
Yes. There's the world. What's the world?
Hashtag now Peter cares about slander. I mean, when you're slandering a hero like Captain America, yes, absolutely. When you're slandering a villain like Flag, no, that's not slander. That's the truth.
You just named 2 heroes. I don't get it.
No.
So Bob Iger had an earnings call, and he did say, in our zeal to flood our streaming platform with more content, we turned on all of our creative engines, including Marvel, and had them produce a lot more. We've also learned over time that quantity does not necessarily beget quality. Frankly, we've all admitted to ourselves that we lost a little focus by making too much content. By consolidating a bit and having Marvel's focus much more on their films, we believe that it will result in better quality. I think the first and best example of that is Thunderbolts. So got a gold star from the man at the top of the chain there. So my next note here, No Way Home's impact on this film. In the comics, Sentry ends up working with Mr. Fantastic and Doctor Strange because the only way you're ever going to control the Void is essentially wipe the entire the entire universe's understanding of Sentry and the Void, including him. And they basically work with Doctor Strange to cast a spell that wipes out the memory of. So they basically stole Sentry's storyline for Spider-Man. And I remember thinking that as Spider-Man was happening, I'm like, aren't we getting Sentry in a future movie? Like, they're literally ripping off like one of his bigger story points.
Well, now we know that Strange knows how to cast the spell, so.
But here's the thing, though, is but this goes in the comics. This goes to an insane extent. That's a fun thing to say, including any tape that includes him combusts if it tries to be played. And this is back in the comic days, so VHSs and stuff. If Peter Parker's Pulitzer Prize, say that 5 times fast.
Peter Parker Pulitzer Prize. Damn,
He writes a Pulitzer Prize thing on Sentry. that gets wiped out, so he loses his Pulitzer Prize.
Aw.
Doesn't remember it because
God, why do they shit on Peter Parker so goddamn much?
he deserves it. He's a menace.
No, he doesn't.
And any object associated with him would look like another object. So if there was a toy or something, it would whatever. And any image of him would appear as blank paper. Like this is like a clean fucking wipe.
They thought of everything.
Because that's the only way to make sure the Void is never a thing, including himself. Like he doesn't even know that. And then that's the comic story is he then like starts to discover like, wait, is there something more to me? And like then uncovers, which then releases the Void along with Sentry. So that's a big story point. But basically, this was all thrown out the window because No Way Home kind of took this story point, and I don't know if it was Feige or whoever thought we're way too close to that of happening to try to do it again.
Yeah.
So we basically left him in this weird spot where it's like he's on the ship and he's kind of like trying to deal with whatever. Whereas like, if they were going with the comics and Spider-Man hadn't done that, they basically would have brought Doctor Strange in and he would have like wiped everything from existence.
Yeah.
Kind of did what we now in the MCU would think of as the Peter Parker treatment.
Yeah.
So it's just an interesting thing of how things,
Sure.
it always reminds me of back in the day with like the Arrow show.
Arrowverse,
people
yeah.
always like complain that like they were taking a bunch of Batman storylines and giving it to him, where it's like, man, if they ever do Batman in this like Arrowverse, like half of his fucking stories have been given to this Arrow. It's kind of that thing where it's like, well, you just took like, and that's one of Sentry's like iconic storyline points too. Like it's the big one because it becomes this whole drawn out storyline of like
rediscovering himself,
Sentry and Void reemerging and becoming this like universal threat. So but no, either way, it's kind of cool. The director also talks about the rebranding it so soon. He said, quote, I felt like that if Val also was trying to pull a switcheroo and sell the new Avengers to the world, that we could do that too, especially given that the asterisk has been on the movie for over a year. Hopefully it doesn't feel like it's sweaty. Hopefully it feels like it was a plan that we built up to it, which I think he succeeded there because I don't think it didn't feel tacked on. It felt like that was always the thing.
I think it's great, like to acknowledge the film outside of the film.
Yeah.
Like the events that happen, like, oh, we're not the Thunderbolts, we're the new Avengers and everything.
Yeah. And then he goes on and says, it was very fun. Marvel is open to embracing that. It's also interesting in this world, and Kevin talks about it sometimes, where sometimes they want things to leak and then they just don't.
Yeah.
And I think we all assumed that this would actually leak and be part of the larger conversation before our movie ever came out, but it just never did. So that's kind of interesting. They actually expected...
It's almost like what we talked about earlier actually happens, like, here, leak this for us. And then the person's like, that's fucking stupid. I'm not doing that.
That's not real.
That's not real. I'm not falling for that one, Feige. Nice try.
Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. And then the director also, in another interview, talked about the shame scenes from The Void that were cut from the film. So Alexei had one. We had one where Alexei was in the gulag. I think we had him being thrown in there. So that's kind of brutal. Ghost, I believe Ghost was about her time in the orphanage and being this girl that no one wanted to be around, to be able to be invisible and see what other people were talking about you. So she'd basically be able to turn invisible and then see all the other kids making fun of her, talking about her, not want to be around her. That would have been her thing. And then Bucky, he said we had a lot of different Bucky ones. We've always wanted to do something a little less than the expected idea. There's some very obvious things for Bucky, but I think at one point Joanne had written something around some shameful moment in Boy Scout camp. So it would have thrown back to like the 30s or 20s.
Jeez.
But I don't know. I don't know that would have really been the right path for it. And then about the other actors, he said the nice thing about working with these actors, they're all so invested and they're caring guardians of their characters and their arcs, and they let you know when something feels false or not right. So that's kind of cool. And then let's move over. The last one I have here can transition us into the post-credit scene. First thing the last note I have here, the Russo brothers confirmed that they shot that closing credits scene.
With the Thunderbolts.
Did that feel... because it felt different to me a little bit, just stylistically. There was just a little, I couldn't even put my finger on it, but I was like, this just feels different all of a sudden. I don't know why. And now I know why, because it's completely different directors with different people. And they did it on the set of Doomsday.
I didn't notice anything different, so.
It wasn't massively heavy, but there was just a slight thing where it's like, that just feels a little different. I mean, it's fine because it's post-credit like that. I don't expect it to feel the same. But now when this comes out, I'm like, okay, that slight thing I couldn't put my finger on. That's what it was.
What's different about this? That's what it was.
And then they posted on Instagram, I think it was. It says, if you haven't seen Thunderbolts, go now. Jack Schreier made it a fantastic film. Congratulations to the entire cast and crew, and make sure you stay until the very end credits. We left a little something for you.
Nice.
So Jack Schreier said that was shot maybe 4 weeks ago, and I did not direct that. The Russo brothers on the set of the Avengers Doomsday did. I got to go and be there, and which is really fun to watch your buddies go out and play on a grander scale. I got to see drafts for sure. We all work on the scenes just to make sure that it was honest with where we put our characters, but also you're giving them over to this whole new world and a new scope, and you want them to function in that way. It was fun to see them directed in another context and on a different level of scope than we would have treated it. So those are the last bits of notes I've got. I do still have more of Mike's email, but let me read his, and then we'll just go the rest of the way on this. So and he says the end credit scene basically spoiled the story line of Fantastic Four, which I'm not sure about that. I have something to say about that as well. We now know that the Galactus wins and the Fantastic Four flee to another Earth. I guess this had to be the story the whole time, but why make it 100% clear 3 months before the release? Tangent, I don't understand why anyone would ever live in New York City, LA, London, Hong Kong, etc. in the MCU. You're always you're always about to be killed, abducted, homeless, body snatched, etc. Cities are crazy dangerous if you're in a comic book world. I'd be living in central Montana or West Texas, hours away from any city bigger than 30,000 people. And you're not wrong, Mike. That is a fair thing to say. I mean, I would be living in like Homer, Alaska, 3,000 people or something like that. Tangent number 2, fun fact of the day. After seeing Bob is played by Lewis Pullman, I looked him up because because he sure looks a lot like Bill Pullman. He is in fact Bill Pullman's son. We need a sequel to Spaceballs with Lewis Pullman as the son of Lone Star. And soon, while we still have Mel Brooks, they're actually working on a sequel right now, as a matter of fact. The dude from the Book of Mormon musical, he played the snowman in a Disney movie too.
Gad.
Yeah, Josh Gad is actively writing it with Mel Brooks right now.
Yeah.
Rick Moranis, please come back for one more movie. Actually, I did just search. Josh Gad is working on Spaceballs too. That's fantastic. Hopefully it gets completed. Agreed. If this is too long, feel free to use little or none of it. Keep up the great work, Mike from Southeast Pennsylvania, which I don't know if that's safe. Pennsylvania, that's pretty close to all that danger zone of.
That's.
Unless
you're far west Pennsylvania.
When we were kids, this would have been safe, but nowadays, if it were the MCU, I think Salt Lake might be big enough to warrant some danger.
To warrant some attention.
Like when we were kids, like when we were like 12-year-olds, like this would have been like so low on the totem pole. Yeah. It would have had to have been like 100 levels deep to get to us. So.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you, Mike, for the email. The one thing I will say about the thing, and I haven't brought this up yet to anyone, including Hayden, but it's a thought I had like a day or so after the movie. What if that's not the end of Fantastic Four? When we know that Reed is investigating multiverse stuff.
Right.
We know
I brought this on us.
We know that he says he did something, then they noticed.
Yep.
What if this isn't earlier in the film that he crosses the barrier to this other galaxy and then gets pulled back? And I'm just saying, because I've had the same thoughts where it's like, are you really? I mean, I've been predicting for a while that this is going to be an Infinity War type movie and they're going to lose this battle, and that's just a logical thing. But it just makes me wonder. The other question I would ask is, why are we assuming the Fantastic Four are on that ship? Doctor Doom is very often stealing things that don't belong to him. So what if it's a Doctor Doom coming through? I'm just wondering, what if this is a midpoint of the movie and he pops through and, oh my God, there's another fucking galaxy. I've made contact with this other thing. Then he gets pulled back. The rest of the film plays out and it's like, I don't know. I'm just wondering if they're bamboozling us a little bit.
What if the Fantastic Four go to look for help?
Yes, exactly.
What if they go into the 616 and they're like, hey, our world's going to die if we don't get your help? And then we have, maybe that's where the Avengers are.
What if the new Avengers show up in the second half of Fantastic Four? Dude, what if?
Red Guardian's like, I love this guy talking to the thing.
Dude, what if? I'm just saying, because I thought the same thing a little bit, but as days went by, I started to think, I'm like, that is a lot to like kind of spoil the movie. I mean, especially because like the snap. I mean, there's the famous interview with Hulk. Oh, imagine you can't wait till the next movie and they kill half of us. And Don Cheadle's like, dude.
Yeah.
Like, so they try to keep this shit under the wrap. So I'm just like, I wonder if they're sleight of handing us. It's like, oh, look, This is how Fantastic Four ends.
Look, this is how their planet's destroyed.
And then 25 minutes into Fantastic Four, we see Reed crossing. And what if that's when fucking Franklin is born? Is when they're on that mission crossing the fucking barrier into the 616. And then as they're coming back, the birth of fucking Franklin, and maybe crossing things is why Franklin is so fucking powerful. You know, like they've already done that in the MCU where they've explained some stuff with like, you know, why some characters are big because they're close to certain things or whatever. So I don't know. I'm just making that thought because to Mike's point. But what do you got to say about the longest post-credit scene in the history of the MCU?
It was amazing to see.
Three minutes or so long?
I think Hayden said 3.5 is what he said,
which is insane.
It's insane. I will say I think we're being duped.
Yeah.
The more and more I think about it, I think everyone's gonna have the same reaction that Mike's having. Is like, they spoiled. I mean, we had that reaction.
I had that reaction too. Yeah. Outside the theater, I was like,
but I got thinking about it. I'm like, this is Kevin Feige we're talking about. He is one sly little bastard.
Yeah,
you
he's
know?
crafty.
He is very crafty. It would not surprise me if Galactus. What if Galactus is only the first half of the movie? What if Galactus gets neutralized because we have the 616
and
heroes
the incursion,
and then
right?
you have the incursion, and that's how, and then you introduce Doom at the end of the film.
Yeah,
and that's how what leads us. What if Doomsday isn't introduced in his movie? What if he's introduced in this one?
Oh, he's in Fantastic Four. There's no way.
Right?
Maybe it's a post-credit scene, but I don't even think that. I kind of wonder if Doom and Reed are working side by side to save their world. And then when it fails, it's not we failed, it's you failed.
Yeah.
You fucked up. And you just let my wife, my country, all this be destroyed. You are my fucking mortal enemy. I will never not blame you for this.
Now I'm coming for you.
But I even brought that up a couple times, or after the trailer, because I remember saying that what if Galactus is like saying like, hey, dude, I am privy to shit you guys aren't. You guys are sparking an incursion. You did something. I am here to fucking stop you. So I want Franklin because Franklin can manipulate reality so he can undo what you just fucked up, because this is my galaxy. I live here. If this galaxy collapses, I'm fucked type thing. And if they spin the whole thing on its head, yeah, dude, what if, like you just said, what if Galactus is like the midpoint of the movie? Galactus is like not necessarily beat or resolved, but what if it turns out to where he's even like, we're working together here. Our fucking galaxy is about to collapse.
Yeah.
And I was coming here to stop you all and undo it. You know,
yeah, undo it.
Yeah, Control Z.
What if Doom decides? What if it's not Doom is like, I hate you. You messed up and everything like that. What if Doom is just like, fuck it, I'm gonna go to this other galaxy anyway.
Yeah,
and he's the one that causes it, and he's the bad guy and everything like that.
Could
and
be.
he's just like, I'm not gonna deal with this anymore. Galactus is here. I'm not dealing with that. And he takes the ship and just
bye,
just offs and and everything.
And that's what I'm wondering too. The bamboozling. It's a Fantastic Four ship.
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean that they, hailing frequencies like Star Trek and fucking Dr. Doom's face isn't the thing that pops up because he stole their ship, right? So
or it could just be the 3 Fantastic Four people showing up. Hey, we need help.
Yeah, why? Because you can't see Sue.
No, you don't believe me, but I don't believe Sue's on that mission. There's that shot where she's not in her spacesuit, and I know you're saying that's because she's giving birth and everything like that.
Because you see that in the first teaser. You see him holding her hand, and she's phasing in and out, and there's like, you could see there's a stress with her, and she's not in any kind of spacesuit. I'm like, she's giving birth.
But I wonder if they're on that mission because she's pregnant. So far pregnant. Well, you're not going to take her on the mission if she's 8 months, 9 months pregnant.
You think you're going to stop her? It seems like she's the one that's kind of not necessarily full on in charge, but she feels like, she
wears the pants in this relationship.
She needs stretchy pants though because she's pregnant. So
yes, she does.
But she's the one that speaks up with like Silver
yes,
Surfer,
we are.
And stuff. So
and then Reed looks at her like, "What the fuck?"
I wonder if Reed tries to stop her. Like, you're too far along. You shouldn't go on this mission. And she's like, "You want to say that again?"
But again, if this is the midpoint of the movie and she's severely pregnant, what if she doesn't go on the mission? What if we get the 3 boys coming to our universe to get help, and they get help and they go back?
Maybe.
Then that explains that shot where they're walking towards the press, and she's not in a space suit.
Yeah,
because that's their pre-flight thing. That's why they're asking him, "Hey, are you going to be able to protect us?" And he's like, "I don't know."
Yeah,
I think that's my theory is that they're going to do something. They're going, and you know what it is? You know what it could be? What if they meant to go somewhere and then the incursion knocks them into our universe and then they have to get back.
Yeah. I mean, there's a number of things. I think we're on a number of levels. I think we're being bamboozled.
100%.
In the marketing for Fantastic Four, and now in the new Avengers post-credit scene, we are being bamboozled on multiple levels. It's just a matter of now of like, what is the bamboozling? Is it Doctor Doom flying that ship? Is it them crossing over at the midpoint of the film, saying, or like maybe it's even just like them not even looking for help, but maybe it's just like he's doing research into like the multiverse stuff, trying to figure out like the not the Einstein-Rosen bridge, but like there's a real term for like the like a wormhole, a black hole, and a black hole and a white hole that cross over the multiverses. It's real scientific shit. Maybe he's just investigating that shit, crosses over in that way, then proving that those things exist and realizing like, oh shit, there's another fucking galaxy here. And then when it comes back, that's the thing that sparks the incursion, which sparks Galactus to come to Earth, and like the whole fucking movie could like cascade from that. I don't know. There's a lot
I'm just saying that Mike asked the question, what help are they taking back with them? Anyone?
Yeah.
I mean,
because they've confirmed in interviews. It sucks they haven't done it in any trailers because there's a lot of people that are missing this. They've confirmed in interviews, in this world, there is not a single other hero on the planet.
Yes.
It is a Fantastic Four and no one else.
Yes.
There is no Spider-Man. There's no fucking X-Men. They are a singular force.
Which is why they're so beloved, because they are the only ones.
Which means Rambo's not in that universe with the X-Men. She's in a different universe. Because after that movie, I remember saying, like, I wonder if like the Fantastic Four exist in that world with the X-Men. But then, of course, down the road, they confirmed to us that no, there's no one else.
Yeah.
This is it for this galaxy. So,
exactly.
So they could, anyone that could help. And I mean, Sentry would be a very helpful person.
Yeah. I mean, Carol Danvers would be very helpful as well.
But he's also a two-edged sword, because you're not getting Sentry without
Carol Danvers, Shang-Chi, Doctor Strange, Thor.
But now you're crossing streams of two different Avengers teams potentially, because if they're making contact with the new Avengers, I wonder if it ends up being them that gets.
Are they
pulled to help.
broadcasting just to them, or are they broadcasting generally? Like, you say they're receiving it, does that mean that someone else isn't also receiving it? Is it just an open help?
Wong's going to see, right?
Wong's going to know. Exactly. And
although
Wong, I hate to break it to Sam Wilson, as much as I've been defending Captain America, Wong's building the new Avengers.
Although I'm going to say right now, I have serious doubts about the Sorcerer Supreme. In Infinity War, Thanos is coming. Who? Your whole job is to know any threat to the fucking multiverse or to your world, and you don't know who fucking Thanos is?
No one knew who Thanos was. He was secret.
Doctor Doom should have known. He's able to cross
Dr.
over.
Doom?
Doctor Strange.
Oh.
He should have been able to cross over. He could cross over into other worlds and shit. He should have very well known who.
I mean, that's Doctor Strange. That's not Wong.
But the whole office of Sorcerer Supreme, I have some serious doubts just because of that line. Still,
you're just in doubt of the whole office in totem.
But yeah, no, I think but this is an incredible post-credit. This might be my favorite post-credit scene of all time.
Oh, I got something.
Well, not Sam Jackson is probably the all-time. Just because that was like the key to open the galaxy. Okay,
we got 4 minutes. Listen to this. Mike, you just made me think of something. I'm looking at your message that says, what help are they taking back with them? What if it's not help? What if it's a resource? What if vibranium doesn't exist in their world and they need it? What if adamantium doesn't exist in their world and they need it? What if that's the component that Reed needs to stop an incursion? What if it's one of those metals? What if it's something that is on our world but not on his? If there's no adamantium, if there's no vibranium, you have no Black Panther, you have no X-Men. Or anyone that's involved with adamantium. You got Wolverine and countless others.
Yeah.
So what if it's a precious metal?
So the asteroid never hit that world.
Exactly. What if the Eternal wasn't in their planet? Because that's what adamantium is. They said is made of adamantium.
I think my only concern with that is I don't know how a precious metal would stop an incursion, because that's such a big like galactic.
Well, what if he has
thing.
like a device that he needs like a conductor or something like that?
Finding something to fight Galactus with makes way more sense of like we need
Well, he's holding that spear in the one shot Reed is where he's jumping and he's got like
trying to catch that thing.
He's got it in his hand. It's in his hand. He's holding it.
Isn't he reaching for it? Isn't it out of his hand and he's like stretching to grab it?
He's stretching and he's reaching up. So I'm just saying, what if it's something that they need? Maybe it's not help. What if it's just a coincidence that they run into the new Avengers? What if they're just calling down there and going, please give us this X so that we can solve Y problem on our planet so that Z doesn't happen to you guys?
Because the adamantium is going to pay off with like Wolverine and X-Men type stuff, but they made kind of a big deal out of it to the point where if they made too much of a deal out of it to be just Wolverine's skeleton.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. What
Yeah.
if that's what it is?
Yeah,
what
good-
if Reed needs adamantium in order to finish a device that's going to be able to blast Galactus back to the other side of the fucking universe? What
Yeah.
if it's a teleportation thing that has to have something that can conduct I'm thinking like Iron Man 2,
Yeah.
where he needs the new element.
The new element, yeah.
What if that new element for Reed isn't on this Earth and he builds something to go outside of his Earth to find it, and he finds it, and that's what they picked up on.
Yeah.
Is that he's searching for something to do a science experiment, and then he pivots that science experiment to being, I got to do something to stop Galactus. The only way I'm going to stop him is with this, but I need that in order adamantium
Yeah.
to stop him.
Yeah.
What if it's a mining? What if it's a mining visit that they're coming to the 616 to be like, "Hey, we just need some of this adamantium. We're just going to break off this Eternal's pinky finger, and then we'll be on our way."
the hell you are?
The hell, exactly. What if that's part of the movie? Is the hell you are, and we get Johnny Storm, the thing.
The whole world just almost went to war for this. Like, do you think we're going to be
Yeah,
like okay to give it to
and,
aliens?
and we're gonna have people just being like, "No, you can't do this," and watch the thing be like, "It's clobbering time," and he just punches someone.
Dude, if I get Thing versus Hulk, it needs to be in Secret Wars Doomsday something.
Yeah.
I need that fight. I need that fucking
Yeah.
fight, dude. No,
dude, I think that's my new. I want this.
outside of the Sam Jackson Iron Man 1 scene, this is probably my favorite post-credit scene
It's good.
of all time. Just because it is the most consequential. I mean, I guess you could argue Avengers showing Thanos, that's pretty big, but like things are starting to amalgamate. We've had
Yeah.
some pieces that we've known from like this movie's coming that are coming together, but it's now starting to suddenly come together where it's like, oh my god, it's starting to happen. So I love this post-credit scene. I love the Sam Wilson lawsuit idea because
we're gonna put a Z on it.
because it's almost like Civil War. You're basically now getting to the spot where you're now going to have two conflicting teams. They both have the same goal of protecting the world, but it's like you have that friction of two teams that don't agree, both trying to claim the title of like Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Like,
Yeah.
that's just built-in drama. That's just
I mean, they're setting it up for team versus team, right? Like we have New Avengers versus the Avengers versus the X-Men.
there's champions.
Versus the Fantastic Four versus the Champions versus the Young Avengers. We have
Yeah.
all these different teams that are starting to be formed. I mean, hell, if people want to be technical, Guardians of the Galaxy are just sitting right over there, and they got a team too.
Yeah,
We got a bunch of teams that are being branched out and
and a
everything.
bad dog on that team.
He was a very bad dog. Don't call me a bad dog.
I
I wonder what Red Guardian would make of that dog.
Yeah, that's the strange chemistry. I think they called it in Infinity War.
Yeah.
That's the stuff I can't wait for Doomsday and Secret Wars. Is
Yes.
all those like moments of like characters meeting that just you've never would have considered being a real
Yeah.
thing, because that's just what Marvel Comics has always been about. So I can't wait to see it on screen. The only other thing I wanted to mention before we wrap up, at some point in the future, we're going to have a conversation about. We discovered recently in our group text that Marvel does have an announced date next year that we've been overlooking. Now, it could be that was the date originally for Blade, and they're just going to plug another Disney movie in there, and it won't be anything. But I have a suspicion. What if it's New Avengers? Or Champions. I mean, it's not new. Or Young Avengers.
Young Avengers.
Champions. Like, because the only other thing that is built up enough to potentially have a fucking movie. What if like Vision, the Vision show that they're filming right now? What if that's not a show? And what if that's this fucking movie that they're going to be like, surprise, motherfucker! In February, here's this fucking movie.
Yeah, here's a trailer for it.
Well, here, the movie's coming. Yeah,
Yeah.
Toward the end of the year, what if we get Bamboozle, where it's like, hey, y'all thought Vision Quest was this show we were filming? Actually, we were filming a movie that's plugging into that February date that, as of right now, is completely unspoken for.
Yeah, here's the trailer.
Because I did say on the lead-in to the last episode to go into this movie, this is the last 616 movie
Yeah.
before Doomsday. Might not be.
What if it's
That,
not?
that February one might be a 616
Gotcha.
movie. So they bamboozled me. So
Mike does say he loves the "I'll do it myself." end credit
for
scene.
Thanos, yeah, and it's huge.
Fine, I'll do it myself.
I think it's just a matter of like we've grown in scale to the point now where we're talking like multiverse and Secret Wars, and now it's suddenly starting to like. I know we saw Rambo go into the X-Men, but like seeing the Fantastic Four crossing over into the 616, there's an element of the first family of Marvel finally in the 616, and also I know that's going to cascade into Fantastic Four and Doomsday. there's just something about that has me, and maybe it's the recency bias. Thanos is so long ago now that I'm just like not giving him credit, but you're right, Mike. That is a killer one too. Sam Jackson, Thanos, and this one are easily top 3 for me. So
let's just go add this show topic. Rank all the end credit scenes for the MCU.
Oh, that might be a full topic. I don't even know if that's a popcorn topic.
I didn't put it as a popcorn topic. I put it as a big idea topic.
I say that's like what 25, 26 movies, and some of them have multiple
30?
credits.
We're over 30.
Are you sure?
I was looking at the phases list and everything like that.
I mean, you could wipe a couple off because there is a couple where they're just trailers, and I almost think you don't count that, right? When it's just like a hype trailer for Avengers, for Captain America, that doesn't really count as post credits because it's just a trailer for God's sake.
We're gonna rank them. We're gonna find out. This one, Thunderbolts, is number 36.
Jesus Christ, I've lost track. All right,
Ant-Man and the Wasp was number 20.
That doesn't feel like it was that long ago, though.
I mean,
never mind. You're saying Wasp, not Quantumania. Never mind.
Not Quantumania.
Okay.
Ant-Man and the Wasp. 2018 was the 20th movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Well, hey, the 90s was last decade, so what are we talking about?
Yeah, that's true.
So, all right, so that will do it for this episode. If you want to email the show, give us your thoughts, give us some of your crazy fan theories, give us your thoughts on Thunderbolts like Mike did. Send the emails to Peter at geekeryabides.com or Tad, T-A-D-D, at geekeryabides.com. And then next time on, which has already been revealed before, it is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I have never read or watched a single second or word of Harry Potter, and we are diving in. I'm going to watch the movie for the first time.
Yep.
And I don't know, is it going to be kind of like you interviewing me on it, or are we just going to like, you want me to take notes?
We'll talk. We'll figure it out.
All right, we'll figure it out. But that's next time on. We have episodes scheduled out all the way through August, I think, at this point. If we figure out more topics, we'll plug them on in and stuff as well. I think I like the idea of
one of the things I want to throw out there is if you have any questions you want me to ask Tad after the first Harry Potter, we're talking Sorcerer's Stone.
I think I've already been spoiled that there's no Gary Oldman. So I'm tempering my expectations, right?
He does come in later.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yes.
Damn. I mean, who knows? He might be a plant in the background.
Third movie.
You might be lying to me. He could be a plant in the background of a room, and that's Gary Oldman. We would never know. So
actually, I think he has a cameo in this one as a mirror.
He could pull a mirror off. All right, but I will sign off as I always do by saying, let your geek flag fly high. Love what you love, and to hell with anyone that says anything about guilty pleasures.
On your left.
Somebody said that to me the other day. Last night, I was walking downtown by the gateway.
Yeah.
And suddenly I hear on your left, and I like step aside, and a fucking golf cart comes like, dude, it would have taken me out. It would have taken me out. But
on your left?
He like shouted, I'm glad I had a reaction time. And I'm like,
and you didn't have like headphones on or something.
I was like, serious, dude. And I was like, I got that reference, even though that probably wasn't a reference. But good one, though. All right, we'll see you guys in a fortnight.
Bye, everyone.